Chapter 106. Inside the mountain river city, the people could not help but be shocked and speechless when they saw the scene displayed on the sky observation mirror. The two of them were not at a disadvantage against 100,000 demonic cultivators. No, one could even say that they were suppressing them. 100,000 demonic cultivators were killed like weeds being mowed down. Too powerful. Some of the cultivators swallowed their saliva in shock. Not far away, Ao Chang and the other sky prides were also watching. Just like the others, their hearts were filled with indescribable shock at this moment. They were shocked by Chu Kuangren's strength. 100,000 demonic cultivators were suppressed by him and his follower? The most terrifying thing is that White Lotus with unparalleled defense. That White Lotus blocked all the attacks, and that's the key to suppressing the demonic cultivators. Even without Lan Yu beside him, I don't think he's any weaker than them. Ao Chang stared at the scene on the sky observation mirror in shock. Were all the sky prides of this era not like Guchanga or Fangtian? They were nothing compared to ancient sky prides like him. But what was up with Chu Kuangren? Why was this guy so terrifying? Even in his era, there was no one who could compare to him. With a wave of sword rays, dozens of demonic cultivators were torn apart on the spot. Chu Kuangren held the Descendant Self-Sword in his hand. As he continued to swing the sword, his understanding of the heaven-slaying sword drawing technique deepened. The demonic cultivators before him had become his whetstone. Roar! A furious roar echoed throughout the forest. A giant corpse the size of a hill rushed towards Chu Kuangren and threw a punch at him. The violent energy caused the void to tremble and formed a shockwave. Chu Kuangren's expression did not change. The punch landed on the White Lotus around him, but it did not even cause any ripples, let alone hurt him. Die! Chu Kuangren said indifferently. With a slash of his sword, the violent sword ray tore the corpse apart and killed the manipulator behind it as well. The 2 versus 100,000 battle lasted for 2 hours. The terrifying energy fluctuations almost shattered the mountain range. Blood flowed like a river and bones piled up. After 2 hours of killing, Chu Kuangren had killed countless demonic cultivators. But the demonic cultivators could not do anything to him. The White Lotus light of purification's defense was too strong. Chu Kuangren, die! At this moment, in the direction of the Shura sect, the burly man attacked brazenly with a saber in his hand. A surging Taoist rhyme erupted, transforming into a huge saber shadow that slashed down. A surge of merciless saber Taoist rhyme that could destroy everything locked onto Chu Kuangren. This was the Shura sect's supreme technique. Bliss Strike. The female cultivator of the Utopia faction also attacked. She waved her hands and lines of runes intertwined in front of her, forming a beautiful shadow that flew towards Chu Kuangren. This phantom figure was graceful and dazzling, but it contained a terrifying power that made people feel intimidated at the sight of it. Humph! Copper Devil Corpse go! Within the corpse refining sect, an old man wearing a bamboo hat and wrapped in strange bandages coldly snorted. The walking dead under his feet let out a roar, and the sound waves spread out like a storm. The zombie took a step forward and arrived above Chu Kuangren. His 10 fingers interlaced like a sledgehammer and slammed down with earth-shattering power. The experts of the 3 major demonic sects had attacked. The huge saber shadow landed on the White Lotus first, followed by the Bliss Strike, and then the giant zombie's fist. 3 surges of power erupted at the same time, attacking the White Lotus in the sky. Under such a powerful attack, the White Lotus remained motionless. This scene made the demonic cultivator's pupils dilate. What kind of technique is this White Lotus? It's too terrifying. **MNit. All battle monarch cultivators. Use your domain suppression. The burly man leading the Ashura sect roared. In an instant, one by one, the battle monarch domains were unleashed. However, when their power landed on the White Lotus in the sky, it still disintegrated. Could not affect Chu Kuangren and his opponent at all. The battle monarch's strongest technique was useless. Drag it out until he dies. No matter how strong this person is, he's still only in the paradise realm. His spiritual power is limited. With so many of us here, I don't believe we can't drag him out. Let's see what he can do when his spiritual power is depleted. One of the demonic cultivators said loudly. Many people's eyes lit up. That was right. After all, they had tens of thousands of demonic cultivators while Chu Kuangren was alone. Would they not be able to wear them out? Humph, this person is using both his Taoist physique transformation and sage ruler technique. How long can he last with his cultivation base? When his spiritual power is depleted, it'll be his death. At that thought, some of the strong demonic cultivators no longer attacked Chu Kuangren. Instead, they held him back and let the others become cannon fodder to deplete Chu Kuangren's spiritual power. Gradually, the number of corpses around them increased. Inside the mountain river city, the people were shocked as they watched the battle. At the same time, they were worried for Chu Kuangren. Of course, they knew that there was a limit to a person's strength. No matter how strong Chu Kuangren was, he was only one person. How was he going to kill 100,000 demonic cultivators? Ao Chang, Lin Batian, and the others also noticed something. These demonic cultivators are planning to exhaust Chu Kuangren to death. Lin Batian took a deep breath and said with a trembling voice, "One could only imagine how much pressure Chu Kuangren was exerting on them for 100,000 demonic cultivators to use such a strategy. Although Chu Kuangren has a supreme foundation and his spiritual power far surpasses his peers, he's still only in the paradise realm. His spiritual power is limited. Once his spiritual power is depleted, he'll definitely die." Ao Chang's eyes revealed a hint of ruthlessness. He did not want Chu Kuangren to live. Chu Kuangren's talent was too strong. Based on the strength that Chu Kuangren had displayed so far, even if Ao Chang recovered to his peak, he would still not be a match for Chu Kuangren. "Why aren't you guys making a move?" At that moment, the mountain river Taoist came before Ao Chang and the others and questioned them. "Make a move? What's there to make a move for? Look at Brother Chu's ferocious and invincible appearance. There's no need for us to make a move," Ao Chang said. "No matter how strong Brother Chu is, he's only one person. His spiritual power will eventually be depleted. Are you guys going to sit back and watch him get killed by the demonic cultivators?" The mountain river Taoist could not help but stare angrily at Ao Chang. "Don't worry, mountain river Taoist. When the time comes, we'll make a move," Guchanga said. "You guys!" The mountain river Taoist suddenly felt sad. How could the respected sage orthodoxy's sky prides be like this? Compared to Brother Chu, you guys aren't even fit to carry his shoes. Knowing that Ao Chang and the others were determined to kill Chu Kuangren, the mountain river Taoist had nothing else to say. He flicked his sleeves and left. Fang Tian, Lin Batian, and the other sky prides were so angry that their faces turned green. Lin Batian snorted and said, "What, Chu Kuangren? He's going to be a dead man soon. There's no way we can compete with him." "That's right. Comparing ourselves to a dead man is a joke." The sky prides stared at the light screen in the sky. They stared at the domineering Chu Kuangren, who was on a killing spree. Their eyes were filled with jealousy. "Chu Kuangren, you must die. If you don't die, there's no place for us in this era." Chapter 107. More and more demonic cultivator corpses were piling up around them. Chu Kuangren had repeated the same action of waving his sword several times. The 100,000 demonic cultivators had been terrorized by him, and now, less than a tenth of them were left. During this process, he consumed a terrifying amount of spiritual power. If it was any other cultivator in the same realm, even if there were 10 of them, their spiritual power would have dried up long ago. However, he persisted until now. His foundation was simply too powerful. Although it couldn't be said that his 4 supreme foundations were unprecedented, at the very least, in this era, no one could match them. Beside him, Lan Yu's face had already turned pale. Her cultivation had already advanced to the paradise realm, and with the help of her supreme Taoist body, the amount of spiritual power she had was several times more than that of other cultivators in the same realm. However, after a round of slaughter, her spiritual power had already been exhausted. "Lan Yu, you should rest for a while," Chu Kuangren said gently. As long as Lan Yu was within the protection of the white lotus light of purification, no one present could hurt her. "Sir, be careful," Lan Yu said. She then took out a pill and swallowed it. She then began to adjust her breathing, trying to recover her spiritual energy as quickly as possible. This scene caused the mouths of all the demonic cultivators present to twitch twice. "Are you kidding me? We're killing each other. Furthermore, you're outnumbered. Do you have to be so arrogant? You're adjusting your breathing right under our noses? That woman can't hold on much longer, and I think Chu Kuangren is almost at his limit as well. Let's keep it up, everyone," the leader of the Ashura sect said. Although there were less than 10,000 demonic cultivators left, most of them were at the nascent soul realm. Their battle prowess was also extremely terrifying. Coupled with the fact that some of the demonic cultivators had yet to make a move, Chu Kuangren and his companion's situation had not improved at all. In fact, it had become even more dangerous. Now is the time. Among the crowd, a skinny old man stared at the demonic spear of apocalypse beside Chu Kuangren and took out a white hand bone from his yin and yang ring. After the hand bone appeared, the demonic spear of apocalypse trembled as if it had sensed something. Chu Kuangren was surprised as he glanced at the skinny old man. Taoist runes began to circulate in his eyes. Venerable Ku Tang, a trusted follower of the limitless demon venerable in the past, a remnant of the limitless demon sect. His cultivation is at the middle stage of the venerable realm, and he cultivates a supreme technique. With the remains of the limitless demon venerable, he can resonate with the demonic spear of apocalypse. A series of messages flashed past. Chu Kuangren was surprised as he looked at the skeletal hand in his opponent's hand. There was indeed an honorable Taoist rhyme emanating from it. The demonic spear of apocalypse was once the weapon of the limitless demon lord, so it was not unusual for it to resonate with his remains. But if you think you can take the demonic spear away like this, you must be dreaming. Chu Kuangren snorted coldly. He reached out and grabbed the devil's spear, and a majestic spiritual power surged out. The originally trembling devil's spear was forcibly suppressed by him. Honorable Ku Tang's expression changed. "I can't believe that Chu Kuangren has such spiritual power. Unbelievable." When the other experts saw Venerable Ku Tang's actions, they also had their own guesses. At the same time, they were also surprised by Venerable Ku Tang's appearance. Ever since the death of the limitless demon lord, this Venerable Ku Tang has disappeared without a trace. I thought that he was long dead. To think that he's actually still alive. That old bastard is too good at living. A supreme's lifespan is at most 8,000 years. Demonic cultivators are not tolerated by the heavenly Tao, so their lifespans are even shorter. He actually managed to live until now? There are many treasures in this world that can extend one's lifespan. From the looks of it, he's not far from heavenly deterioration stage 5. The experts of the 3 demonic orthodoxies discussed in a low voice. Chu Kuangren looked at Honorable Ku Tang and said, "Most of the demonic orthodoxies' honorables have been intercepted by the 7th forefather. You must have some tricks up your sleeves to be able to sneak in. What a pity. Since you've lived in hiding for so many years, why didn't you continue to hide? Why did you suddenly come out? Do you have a death wish?" Honorable Ku Tang sneered. The demonic spear of apocalypse is the demonic honorable's weapon. It should belong to the supreme demon sect. A long-dead orthodoxy that only left behind remnants like you to struggle on death's door dares to snatch the sage ruler weapon? How foolish. You'll know once you try. Without another word, Honorable Ku Tang raised his hand and unleashed a palm attack. An extremely sinister Taoist rhyme manifested and blasted towards Chu Kuangren. The white lotuses in the sky trembled. The outermost layer of the white lotuses seemed to have been ravaged by a storm as the petals withered and shattered. Since the beginning of the war, this was the first time the white lotus light of purification had been destroyed. Although it did not completely shatter, the crowd of demonic cultivators' eyes lit up and their faces were filled with joy. "Ha ha! This guy's spiritual power is almost depleted. Everyone, keep it up. Chu Kuangren, prepare to die." The demonic cultivators attacked with all their might. All sorts of Taoist rhymes erupted and bombarded the white lotuses, causing them to tremble and shatter. Just when Honorable Ku Tang was about to attack, a handsome young man suddenly appeared in front of him. "Who's there?" Honorable Ku Tang's expression changed slightly. However, when he saw the young man's face clearly, his pupils dilated in disbelief. You're the demonic Honorable." "No, that's not right. The demonic Honorable is already dead." Honorable Ku Tang quickly denied it. "I'm his descendant. Lend me your arm bone. I have a way to get the demonic spear of apocalypse." The young man stared at the arm bone in his opponent's hand with a burning gaze. Meanwhile, Chu Kuangren was dealing with the attacks of many demonic cultivators. Maintaining his Taoist physique's three major transformations, the White Lotus Light of Purification, and activating the Sage Ruler technique had consumed too much of his spiritual power. However, Chu Kuangren did not panic. Instead, he remained calm. Gluttonous devouring technique. A strange Taoist rhyme suddenly erupted around Chu Kuangren's body, and a terrifying suction force erupted. The corpses of the demonic cultivators around him were disintegrated into countless blood and flesh essences that gushed towards him from all directions. The corpses of the demonic cultivators piled up like a mountain. To Chu Kuangren, who possessed the gluttonous devouring technique, these corpses were like precious herbs that could replenish his spiritual power at any time. Moreover, unlike ordinary medicinal pills that required a certain amount of time to be digested, they could be converted into spiritual power in a very short period of time once they entered his body. That was Chu Kuangren's greatest source of confidence in this battle. With the gluttonous devouring technique, he had no fear of exhausting his spiritual power. Group battles were completely useless to him. The demonic cultivator's plan to wear him down with a continuous battle was a mistake from the beginning. The more he killed, the more spiritual power he could replenish. Large amounts of blood and flesh essences flowed into Chu Kuangren's body like rivers flowing into the sea. His originally depleted spiritual power was recovering at a terrifying rate, and it even showed signs of improving. That scene almost made all the demonic cultivators shut themselves up. They had been fighting with their lives on the line to deplete their opponent's spiritual power, but he had recovered in the blink of an eye. That was just too shameless. What kind of technique is that? Why does this guy have so many techniques? I've never even heard of any of them. Where did he get them from? If he had such a technique, why didn't he use it just now? I understand now. He's trying to create an illusion. He wants to give us the illusion that we can exhaust his spiritual power and defeat him. However, who would have thought that he would have such a method? Chapter 108. His gluttonous devouring technique caught everyone off guard. Chu Kuangren, who had once again recovered to his peak, once again formed white lotuses in the void. His peerless defense rendered all the demonic cultivators helpless. With a swing of the sacred sword, the domineering sword ray killed many demonic cultivators. Even the elites of the three demonic orthodoxies were no match for him. The remaining 10,000 demonic cultivators were killed one after another. Buzz buzz. At that moment, the demonic spear of apocalypse, which was beside Chu Kuangren, leaped into the air and shot towards a certain direction. A young man grabbed the flying demonic spear with a face full of joy. I did it! The demonic spear of apocalypse is mine now. The young man held a hand bone in his hand, and a powerful Taoist rhyme emanated from his body that resonated strongly with the demonic spear of apocalypse. The resonance was even stronger than before. Taoist runes swirled in Chu Kuangren's eyes as he glanced at the young man. Zhao Wujin, the descendant of the former Supreme Demonic Honorable, the current disciple of the Chakra King of the Underworld Palace. He possesses the supreme demonic physique and cultivates a sage technique. Chu Kuangren was surprised. The descendant of the Supreme Demonic Honorable? Looks like all sorts of monsters have popped up. Chu Kuangren remained calm despite the demonic spear being snatched away. On the other hand, the other demonic cultivators were extremely excited. Someone got the demonic spear. Who's that young man? Chu Kuangren said that he's the descendant of the supreme demonic honorable. Is that true? The Taoist rhyme that emanated from him is the supreme demonic physique, the same physique that the supreme demonic honorable once possessed. Besides, I've seen the supreme demonic honorable's portrait before, and it does bear some resemblance to this young man. Could it be that he was the one who destroyed the Mountain River sect for the demonic spear of apocalypse? It seems like he succeeded. Humph, who cares whose descendant he is? Now that the demonic spear is no longer in Chu Kuangren's hands, it'll be much easier to get it. Let's go. That's right. The supreme demonic honorable is dead, so the demonic spear of apocalypse is now ownerless. Even if the descendant of the supreme demonic honorable wants it, he'll have to prove himself with his strength. If he can't keep it, he can't blame anyone else. The cultivators of the three demonic orthodoxies immediately changed their target. Chu Kuangren was too strong, so strong that even the demonic cultivators were helpless against him. With the demonic spear in his hands, the demonic cultivators had no hope at all. However, now that they had fallen into Zhao Wujin's hands, they felt that they could do whatever they wanted again. Chu Kuangren and the others could not do anything to them, but could they not do anything to them? Who dares to harm young master? Venerable Ku Teng suddenly stepped forward and said loudly. Regardless of whether it was for the demonic spear of apocalypse or Zhao Wuji's identity, he could not allow anyone to harm Zhao Wuji. You want the demon spear? You think you're worthy? Zhao Wujin held the demon spear of apocalypse in his hand, and the Taoist rhymes of the supreme demon body erupted. The aura he unleashed was not weaker than any of the battle monarchs present. As expected of the descendant of the demon lord. Truly extraordinary. Venerable Ku Teng praised. I say, aren't you guys looking down on me too much? At that moment, Chu Kuangren's figure appeared. Holding the descendant's self-sword in his hand, he took a step forward and arrived beside Zhao Wujin. With a ferocious slash, the domineering purple sword ray almost tore the void apart. Zhao Wujin held the demonic spear in his hand and fiercely attacked the sword light. The two forces collided and gave off a loud explosion. The terrifying force traveled along the long spear and directly shattered the bones in Zhao Wujin's arms. He let out a miserable howl and was sent flying backward, unable to hold on to the devil's spear. Come, try and see if you can take it away again. Chu Kuangren took the demonic spear that flew out and stabbed it into the ground. How can this be? Zhao Wujin was shocked. Even with the demonic spear of apocalypse, he could not block Chu Kuangren's sword attack. His hands trembled and drops of blood dripped down. He gritted his teeth and used his supreme demonic physique to activate the demon honorable's arm bone to resonate with the demonic spear. He wanted to take the demonic spear of apocalypse back again. However, it was useless. Under Chu Kuangren's powerful suppression, the demonic spear did not budge an inch. D*MN. The demonic spear is back in Chu Kuangren's hands again. There's no way we can take it back. Let's go. Chu Kuangren is too strong. Let's leave first. Some of the demonic cultivators suppressed their desire for the demonic spear and wanted to leave. However, they were met with an obstacle. What's going on? The spatial structure here has been changed. The demonic cultivators who wanted to leave were shocked. Not far away, Chu Kuangren sneered when he saw everything. Do you really think you can come and go as you please? The 9 Heaven Sword prison had sealed the world. How could it be that easy to leave? Ever since these demonic cultivators arrived, Chu Kuangren had no intention of letting them leave. He would not let any of them go. Heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique. With a swing of the sacred sword, a sword ray that had been repeated countless times surged out. The Ashura sect's battle monarch leader was killed on the spot. He did not even have the time to scream. Chu Kuangren, spare my life. I'm willing to serve you as my master. I'll be your slave, the Euphoria sect's lady said tearfully. Her face was charming, and her eyes were captivating. Chu Kuangren looked up at her. You're such a slut. As soon as he said that, he swung his sacred sword. Under the lady's horrified gaze, the sword ray engulfed her without any resistance. Her body was instantly blasted into a bloody mess. Run, run. We're no match for him. D*eminent. How can he be so strong? He's just one person, but we, 100,000 demonic cultivators, are helpless against him. How is this possible? On the battlefield, the demonic cultivators were in a state of panic. Honorable Kutang had also tried to escape, but even he could not break free from the Nine Heaven Sword prison and was trapped there. Left with no choice, he decided to fight Chu Kuangren with his life on the line. However, even an honorable could only take one more attack from him. With the fall of Honorable Kutang, the rest of the demonic cultivators became even more desperate. At that moment, cries of mercy and screams could be heard. However, Chu Kuangren was unfazed. With the sword of heaven above his head and a green lotus under his feet, he was surrounded by white lotuses. He looked like a high and mighty immortal. However, to these demonic cultivators, no one looked more like a demon than Chu Kuangren. No, I'll die if I stay here any longer. I must escape. Zhao Wujin was terrified. He quickly took out a talisman that was engraved with mysterious runes and tore it apart. A powerful surge of spatial Taoist rhyme erupted from the talisman and enveloped Zhao Wujin. In the blink of an eye, he broke free from the Nine Heaven Sword prison seal. Chu Kuangren was surprised when he noticed the spatial anomaly. Is this spatial energy? Is it some kind of spatial treasure? Chu Kuangren murmured. There were many spatial treasures in this world, and the most well-known one was a type of talisman known as the Great Shift Talisman. This type of talisman was extremely rare, and only the best talisman master could create it. Moreover, there were only a few talisman masters who could do so since ancient times. But it doesn't matter. He's just a small fry. I'll just kill him when I meet him in the future. Chu Kuangren ignored him. Not long after, Chu Kuangren killed the last few demonic cultivators with a wave of his hand. With that, the battle had officially come to an end. In the mountains, the corpses of the demonic cultivators were scattered all over the place like weeds. Broken limbs and blood flowed like rivers. It was a hellish scene that was hard to look at. In this hell, a peerless white-robed figure stood with a sword in hand. His ethereal aura was incompatible with the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood. Chapter 109. He did it. In the mountain river city, everyone witnessed how Chu Kuangren killed 100,000 demonic cultivators through the sky observation mirror. They were shocked beyond words. Then they were overjoyed. He did it. He did it. The 100,000 demonic cultivators are dead. The demonic onslaught in the northern Lingdao state has been resolved. Even if there are still demonic cultivators around, there's nothing to be afraid of. That's right. This is great. Brother Chu is truly a godly person. Countless people in the mountain river city worshipped Chu Kuangren to the point where some even knelt on the street and worshipped him like a god. It was just like how the White Lotus Sage ruler had single-handedly saved the lives of billions of people in the southern kingdoms. Even now, her story was still passed down from generation to generation. It was the same for Chu Kuangren. His name would be remembered in the history books of the northern Lingdao state and be sung for generations to come. How is this possible? How did he do it? Compared to the ecstatic crowd, Ao Chong, Fang Tian, and the others looked terrible. They stared at the sky observation mirror with dissatisfaction. They had planned to strike only after Chu Kuangren failed, and they had prepared their men for that. But now all their preparations were useless. Chu Kuangren had single-handedly killed 100,000 demonic cultivators. He had done something that they did not even dare to imagine. Among the crowd, a white-robed elder looked at Chu Kuangren through the sky observation mirror and exclaimed, "What an anomaly! What an anomaly!" At the other end of the mountain range, the battle between the seventh forefather and the others had yet to end. However, all of them had noticed that the battle between Chu Kuangren and the 100,000 demonic cultivators had ended. Has the battle stopped? It's over. Who has the demonic spear of apocalypse? Everyone could not wait to release their spiritual thoughts. However, when the scene at the other end of the mountain range appeared in their minds, everyone, including the Chakra King, was shocked. Amidst the mountains of corpses and a sea of blood, there was only a peerless white robe. Even the honorables could not help but be shocked by that scene. All the demonic cultivators are dead. How is this possible? The seventh patriarch and the other Tao protectors were also shocked. The densely packed corpses of the demonic cultivators were simply too frightening. Ha ha ha, as expected of the Black Heaven sect's lead disciple. You demonic cultivators must be dreaming if you think you can kill him. The seventh forefather laughed. Are you even worthy of killing the sage of my White Lotus school? As expected of Princess Linglong's husband, both Supremacy Qinglan and the old woman were filled with pride as well. At that moment, Chu Kuangren, who was in the middle of the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood, made another unexpected move. A strange Taoist rhyme emanated from his body, and the countless demonic cultivator corpses around him all turned into blood-colored light dots that surged towards him. Tao Tai Art, unleash. Chu Kuangren absorbed a large amount of demonic cultivator's blood and flesh essences. His aura continued to rise. What kind of strange technique is this? He's going to break through the realm. He just experienced a great battle, and now he's going to break through. And he's even borrowing the power of 100,000 devil cultivators. Too terrifying. The experts from the three demonic sects were stunned. F***ck me. Not only did you kill so many of us, you even want to use their corpses to break through your cultivation? That's too much. Just who was the demonic cultivator here? Why did they feel that Chu Kuangren was more of a demon than they were? Amidst the mountain of corpses and the sea of blood, Lan Yu had already recovered most of his spiritual power. Seeing that Chu Kuangren was absorbing the demonic cultivator's blood and flesh essences, she stood by his side to protect him. At that moment, Chu Kuangren had activated the Tao Tai art to its limit, and the countless blood and flesh essences were continuously absorbed by him. If this technique were to be used recklessly, it would damage one's luck and karma. However, not now. That was because the 100,000 demonic cultivators were here to kill him. If he retaliated, he would not be tainted by karma, nor would his luck be damaged. A large amount of blood and flesh essences flowed through the Tao Tai dimension, flowing through his limbs and bones, converging at his spiritual mound, where they were converted into pure spiritual power. Chu Kuangren's aura continued to rise as he headed towards the Battle Monarch realm. A surge of Taoist rhyme shot into the sky and formed into an incomparably gorgeous golden crown with Taoist patterns flowing around it. Taoist beads formed on the crown, which was extremely mysterious. 1, 2, 3. In an instant, 7 Taoist beads formed on the crown. The 7-pearl crown. This was already the highest level of foundation. Many cultivators exclaimed in admiration. No, it's not enough. It's far from enough. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up as he accelerated the absorption of the blood and flesh essences around him. Countless corpses of demonic cultivators were disintegrated and dispersed into the surroundings. 100,000 demonic cultivators died without leaving behind any corpses. However, even after absorbing 100,000 demonic cultivators, the 7-pearl crown on top of Chu Kuangren's head did not show any signs of evolving. Chu Kuangren took out another half of a corpse. It was a headless corpse with Taoist patterns flowing around it and mysterious Taoist rhymes. It was the corpse of the Black Light Sage. Chu Kuangren activated the Tao Tai art and absorbed the sage's corpse as well. The majestic blood and flesh essences once again erupted. Another Taoist bead was formed, the 8-pearl crown. Not enough. Chu Kuangren then took out the Boundary Sage-grade Supreme Elixir that he had previously obtained and swallowed it into his stomach. As the Supreme Elixir took effect, Chu Kuangren's body radiated with endless divine radiance. The cultivators were stunned when they saw that. He just took out a Boundary Sage-grade Supreme Elixir, but he just ate it like that. F***ck me. What a waste. A cow chewing on a peony, it's really a cow chewing on a peony. Countless cultivators were heartbroken. If a skilled alchemist were to refine a Boundary Sage-grade Supreme Elixir, there was a high chance that they could create a batch of Boundary Sage-grade pills. Even if they could not, refining it would be very beneficial for an honorable. It was even possible for them to break through a few small realms. However, Chu Kuangren just chewed it like that. How much medicinal power was wasted like that? Although he was not heartbroken, the others were sighing. However, Chu Kuangren did not care about that. With the help of the half-sage-grade corpse and the boundary sage-grade supreme elixir, the golden crown on his head finally formed the 9th Taoist bead. Supreme foundation level 9 pearl crown. Rays of light scattered from the crown and enveloped Chu Kuangren. The experts who were watching from afar had complicated expressions on their faces. The 9 pearl crown. Throughout the past 150,000 years, only a handful of people had managed to do so. However, Chu Kuangren had done it in front of them. Not only that, but he had also formed a supreme Taoist foundation level, a supreme golden core, a supreme nascent soul, and a supreme purple palace realm. Now, with the addition of this crown, he had 5 supreme foundation levels. How terrifying would his combat strength be? The experts could not even imagine it. The Sky Prides felt even more hopeless. Slaying 100,000 demons before forming a supreme foundation level. Chu Kuangren is just too amazing. With him in this era, where will the other Sky Prides be? How sad. Chu Kuangren had officially reached the Battle Monarch realm. He was crowned king amidst a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Let's go. The rest of the demonic cultivators no longer held any hope for the demonic spear of apocalypse. One by one, they left the mountain range. The 7th forefather and the other 2 did not stop them and rushed towards Chu Kuangren instead. By then, the crown on Chu Kuangren's head had disappeared. However, within his spiritual mound, the 5 supreme foundation levels radiated brilliantly, causing Taoist rhymes to circulate around his body. He was like an immortal who was about to ascend. Little guy, you're amazing. Chapter 110. Kid, you're really something. The 7th forefather came before Chu Kuangren and praised him. The old lady and Honorable Qinglan were also pleased and impressed. Even the 7th forefather and the other 2 did not expect to kill 100,000 demonic cultivators. Not to mention that Chu Kuangren managed to forge a supreme battle monarch foundation level after killing 100,000 demonic cultivators. It was unbelievable. Chu Kuangren smiled and said, "After this battle, the demonic onslaught in northern Lingdao has been mostly resolved. The next step will be much easier." Not bad. However, I'm afraid the reputation of the other sage orthodoxies is going to be tarnished this time. Those Taoists will definitely be punished when they return. Honorable Qinglan smiled and said, "The demonic onslaught was a chance for the sage orthodoxies to train their Sky Prides, hoping that they could use this opportunity to raise their reputation. However, no one expected things to turn out this way. Chu Kuangren had taken all the limelight. It could even be said that he had single-handedly resolved the demonic onslaught. The Sky Prides of the other sage orthodoxies did not do much, but the people and cultivators of northern Lingdao could see that. Even if they did not say anything, the reputation of Jiang Valley, the sacred lands of serene wisdom, and the other sage orthodoxies would definitely be affected. They reap what they sow, Chu Kuangren said. If these people really wanted to help the people solve the demonic onslaught, things would not have turned out this way. After that, Chu Kuangren left the mountain range and returned to the mountain river city. In the city, countless people stood on both sides of the street. When Chu Kuangren entered the city, everyone looked at him with a fervent gaze. Chu Kuangren was shocked. Damn it, what's wrong with these people? He did not know that the Li family head had used the divine observatory mirror to promote him. "We thank Master Chu for your kindness." "Thank you, Brother Chu. Immortal's great kindness. We will never dare to forget it." The people and cultivators on both sides of the street were kneeling on the ground. Some of them addressed Chu Kuangren as a brother, while others called him master. To most people, Chu Kuangren was an immortal. The crowd was kneeling on the ground, and it was a spectacular sight to behold. Chu Kuangren was a little stunned by the scene. However, he still went forward to help the Li family patriarch and the mountain river Taoist up. "Everyone, there's no need to do this. Please get up. Fellow Taoist, you've helped northern Lingdao to resolve the demonic onslaught. This is a great favor that you deserve. Patriarch Li said. It's my job, Chu Kuangren said. He dealt with the crowd. Not far away, Ao Chang and the others were filled with hatred and jealousy when they saw the revered Chu Kuangren. No matter where they were, as long as Chu Kuangren was around, they would all be relegated to the background. No one would notice them at all. This made them extremely aggrieved. No matter what, they were the geniuses of their respective orthodoxies. Phew, I'm finally back. Chu Kuangren could not help but lament when he returned to his temporary residence. Just now, on the street, everyone was extremely friendly to him. Dealing with this group of people was probably not as tiring as killing 100,000 devil cultivators. The next day, Chu Kuangren yawned and stood up. As usual, he opened the fantasy roulette after brushing his teeth and washing his face. It's been a while since I've gotten anything good. I hope I'll be lucky this time, Chu Kuangren thought. The roulette began to spin. Congratulations, host. You've drawn a legendary item, Eternal Emperor Scripture. Ha! Chu Kuangren's body trembled. F***ck me. I really got a legendary item, and it was an Emperor Scripture. Emperor Scriptures were similar to Emperor techniques in that they were usually created by emperors. However, there was still a huge difference between the two. The latter referred to a certain technique, while the former referred to an emperor's understanding of the Tao. It could also include various techniques. For example, an emperor technique was a poem, while an emperor scripture was a book that taught people how to compose a poem. It could also include various types of poems. In terms of value, an emperor scripture was far more valuable than an emperor technique. Especially in this era where monarch inheritances were severed and even monarch techniques were extremely rare, monarch scriptures were unimaginably precious treasures. If this emperor scripture were to appear, the entire firmament star would be in chaos. None of the orthodoxies could resist such a temptation. The Eternal Emperor Scripture was written by an eternal emperor. It includes the Tao Enlightenment section, the Emperor Technique section, the Alchemy section, the Runic section. Chu Kuangren looked at the introduction of the Eternal Emperor Scripture. He could not wait to take this Emperor Scripture out and study it. Studying an Emperor Scripture is not child's play. I mustn't be impulsive. Chu Kuangren took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. Then, he began to familiarize himself with the power in his body. He had just ascended to the Battle Monarch realm yesterday and had even formed a supreme foundation like the Nine-Pearled Crown. He had to find some time to test it out. Besides the breakthrough in his cultivation, Chu Kuangren felt that his body had also changed. His immortal body had improved. He was originally in the first realm of the immortal body, but after he broke through to the Battle Monarch realm, he had now reached the second realm. Broken limbs rebirth. Originally, he could heal all kinds of injuries quickly. Now, even if he broke an arm or a leg, he could recover quickly. Chu Kuangren took out the Descendant Self Sword and waved it around his arm and thigh, wondering if he should give it a try. After some thought, he gave up on the idea. After all, he did not have the tendency to hurt himself. In the dark, the three protectors looked at each other. They did not understand what Chu Kuangren was trying to do. What kind of person would use a sword to stab themselves in the back? Master, there's a visitor. At that moment, Lan Yu knocked on the door and said, "All right, I'm coming." Chu Kuangren answered, put on his clothes and walked out. "Master, please wait a moment." Lan Yu suddenly called out to Chu Kuangren. She walked up to him and straightened his crooked collar. Then, she looked at him and smiled in satisfaction. "It's done. Damn, I didn't expect Lan Yu to have obsessive-compulsive disorder." Chu Kuangren laughed and then walked towards the great hall. He saw that the visitor was an old man in plain clothes. This old man's hair and beard were all white. Although he was wearing plain clothes, he had an extraordinary aura and demeanor. Chu Kuangren looked at him and activated the Eye of Revelation. The Divine Predictor, the sect leader of the Phantom Valley Physiognomy sect. He's an expert in the art of divination. He can foresee 500 years in the past and 300 years in the future. He's the #1 physiognomist in Firmament Star. Oh, it's him. Chu Kuangren's heart skipped a beat. The divine predictor was definitely a legend in Firmament Star. He was the #1 physiognomist in the world of physiognomy, and he was the one who predicted the reopening of the Emperor's path in this world. It was because of this person that this world was known as the era of great battles and gave countless cultivators the hope of becoming an emperor. Even an honorable supreme would have to show some respect to this person. Why would such a person come looking for me? Greetings, Senior Divine Predictor. Chu Kuangren dared not delay and immediately stepped forward to greet him. Oh, you already know who I am even before I tell you my identity. Could it be that Junior Chu also has the ability to predict the future? The divine predictor said in surprise. Senior, you must be joking. Everyone in Firmament Star knows about you, so it's not surprising that I know about you. May I know why you're looking for me, Senior? Chu Kuangren asked curiously. Heh, I'm just curious. The divine predictor no longer cared about how Chu Kuangren knew about him. Chapter 111. Curious. Chu Kuangren was a little surprised. I've traveled the world and seen all kinds of people. There are emperors, talented generals, and even sky prides. I ask myself, no matter who it is in front of me, even if it's that high and mighty saint, I can still see through it. However, you're an exception. At that, the divine predictor stared at Chu Kuangren with uncontrollable curiosity. You're an anomaly. I can't see your past or future. It's as if you don't exist in the river of time. It's too strange. Chu Kuangren frowned. He did not exist in the river of time. Was it because he was not a person of this world? Chu Kuangren had a strange feeling when he thought of that. I wonder if this is a good thing or a bad thing. I don't know. The divine predictor shook his head. But if I can't find your existence in the river of time, then all the Tao of divination will be useless to you. In a way, you don't have to worry that someone will use this against you. I guess this is a good thing. Yes. Chu Kuangren nodded and did not think too much about it. Since he was already here, he might as well make the best of it. Things like the river of time and karma were too difficult for him to comprehend. Thinking too much would hurt his head, so he might as well not think about it at all. Lan Yu, prepare some tea for our senior. Yes. Lan Yu poured a cup of tea for the divine predictor. The divine predictor glanced at Lan Yu and exclaimed, "This young lady is extraordinary. I'm afraid her future achievements will not be any weaker than the emperors of old." The divine predictor's words shocked the seventh forefather and the other protectors. No weaker than the emperors of old? What did that mean? It meant that she would at least become an emperor. Lan Yu could become an emperor in the future. F***ck me. They knew that Lan Yu was talented and would not lose to any sky prides in this world. But they did not expect the divine predictor to praise her like that. Chu Kuangren was surprised too, but he smiled and said, "Ha! You're indeed my Lan Yu. You must protect me when you become an emperor." Lan Yu nodded seriously. "Whether I become an emperor or not, I will always follow you, master." To her, becoming an emperor was secondary. The most important thing was to stay by Chu Kuangren's side. Of course, if she could become an emperor, she would definitely be of great help to her master in the future. Chu Kuangren chuckled and continued his conversation with the divine predictor. Since the divine predictor was a big shot of this era, he would definitely know a lot of secrets. Chu Kuangren would take this opportunity to find out as much as he could. Unfortunately, every time Chu Kuangren asked a crucial question, the other party would tell him that the secrets of the heavens must not be revealed and shut him up. The fortune-teller's words were so vague that it made Chu Kuangren feel depressed. It is fate that brought us together. I will reveal a little bit. Actually, it is not really revealing. After all, this matter will soon be known by the whole world. Oh, please tell me, Senior. About half a month later, the great Tao will manifest and give birth to 49 wisps of primordial Emperor's Qi. Those who obtain the Emperor's Qi will be able to increase their chances of becoming an emperor by comprehending the Emperor's Qi. The appearance of the primordial Emperor's Qi also indicates that the era of great battles has begun. Even the ancient geniuses who have been hibernating will awaken one by one. At that time, little friend Chu, I'm afraid you will have a worthy opponent. The divine predictor smiled faintly. The seventh forefather and the others secretly took note of his words and prepared to report back to the orthodoxies. This matter was related to becoming an emperor, so it was too important. I've heard of the primordial emperor's chi. Chu Kuangren pondered. If the primordial purple haze was the foundation of becoming a sage, then the primordial emperor's chi would be the foundation of becoming an emperor. It was extremely valuable. However, having the primordial emperor's chi did not mean that one would definitely become an emperor. It just meant that the chances of becoming an emperor were much higher than cultivators without the primordial emperor's chi. No matter what, the emperor's chi was much more valuable than the primordial purple haze. A single wisp of primordial purple haze was enough to attract all the orthodoxies to fight for it, let alone the primordial emperor's chi. Moreover, there were 49 of them. The era of great battles was too extraordinary. It's my fortune to obtain the emperor's chi, but it's my fate to lose it. As for the ancient geniuses you mentioned, if they're all like Ao Chong, I'm afraid they're no match for me. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Ao Chong might not even be able to withstand a single attack from him. As for the other ancient sky prides, no matter how strong they were, how strong could they be? As if sensing Chu Kuangren's disdain, the divine predictor said, Ao Chong wasn't the only ancient sky prides. Ao Chong lived 30,000 years ago, and the sky prides back then weren't that much stronger than those of this era. However, the older the sky prides are, the closer they are to the emperor's era, the more terrifying they are. Back then, they even possessed the complete emperor's inheritance. Those sky prides are incomparable to the ones we have now. Chu Kuangren's interest was piqued. Then I'm looking forward to it. I hope it won't disappoint me too much. Although the divine predictor hid a lot of things from Chu Kuangren, the information he revealed was still shocking enough. At least, the seventh forefather and the other protectors were shocked. After sending off the divine predictor, the seventh forefather and the other two walked out from the void. Half a month later, the great Tao will manifest, and 49 streams of Shenhuang Emperor Qi will be born. This is no small matter. We must report this back to the orthodoxy, and let the sect leader and the others prepare early. The seventh forefather said solemnly. All right, then send a message to Master and the others. Also, tell them that I'll be returning to the Black Heaven sect in a few days. Maniac Chu said. The seventh forefather asked in surprise, Little guy, you're not going to train anymore? No, there's nothing left to train. Chu Kuangren shook his head with a hint of disappointment in his eyes. None of the sky prides in this world can withstand a single sword attack from me. What else is there to train for? The seventh forefather and the other two looked at each other, the corners of their mouths twitching. Perhaps only Chu Kuangren would say something like that. However, no one could refute it. This was especially true now that he had advanced to the battle monarch realm. Putting aside geniuses, even a venerable might not be able to withstand a single strike from him. The seventh forefather felt that it would not be long before Chu Kuangren no longer needed their protection. At that thought, they were extremely shocked. How long had it been since he entered the world? How could he have reached such a level? 2 days later, the demonic onslaught in the northern Lingdao state was almost over. Throughout the process, the cultivators that Chu Kuangren sent out did not encounter any obstacles. Once the news of him slaughtering 100,000 demonic cultivators got out, not just the northern Lingdao state, but every demonic cultivator in the world was scared out of their wits. Who would dare to come to the northern Lingdao state? As for those who were still in the northern Lingdao state, they wished that their parents had given them an extra pair of legs so that they could leave this place as soon as possible. Slaughtering 100,000 demonic cultivators? Was this something that a young junior could do? This is too scary. This Chu Kuangren is too scary. D***MN it. We can't stay in this state any longer. This demonic onslaught was basically solved by Chu Kuangren alone. What a monster! The demonic cultivators were terrified, the righteous cultivators were in awe, and the common people respected Chu Kuangren as if he was a god. Even in Mountain River City, some scholars had begun to write books about Chu Kuangren. As for the mountain range where Chu Kuangren slaughtered 100,000 demonic cultivators, many people called it The Weeping Demon Mountain. It meant the place where the demonic cultivators cried. Some people in the later generations had read about it. Chapter 112. In the Black Heaven sect, Honorable Xian Qi and the others had long received news of Chu Kuangren's impending return, so they were waiting for him with a group of elders. Apart from them, the 100,000 disciples of the Black Heaven sect were also looking forward to it. Say, eldest senior brother has only been in the world for less than half a year. How can he be back so soon? This is way too fast. What kind of person is eldest senior brother? Although he's only been in the world for half a year, he's already known to the world. Why would he still need to train? That's true. Eldest senior brother is really amazing. Yes, too strong. I'm so looking forward to it. I just joined the Black Heaven sect and haven't seen eldest senior brother yet. I really don't know what he looks like. Little junior sister, I guarantee that after you meet eldest senior brother, no other man will be able to enter your eyes. The disciples discussed fervently as they looked in the direction of the Black Heaven sect's mountain gate. Gradually, a black dot approached from afar. Upon closer inspection, it was a group of immortal boats. The ferry boats stopped in front of the Black Heaven sect's mountain gate. A white-robed young man walked down from the leading ferry boat, followed by a lady in a long skirt. These two people were Chu Kuangren and Lan Yu. As for the other ferry boats, they were carrying Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others who had gone to northern Lingdao to eliminate the demonic onslaught. Now they had returned triumphantly. Eldest senior brother has returned. Heavens! Eldest senior brother really has the bearing of an immortal. Eldest brother, I love you. Some of the disciples who had just joined the Black Heaven sect saw Chu Kuangren for the first time, and they were all amazed and mesmerized by him. When the other disciples saw this, their expressions were as if they had expected it. Welcome, eldest senior brother. Taoist Jun Yi walked out and said loudly with cupped hands. When the others saw this, they quickly followed suit and bowed. Welcome, eldest senior brother. Welcome, eldest senior brother. Welcome, eldest brother. All of a sudden, 100,000 disciples cheered in unison. Their voices were so loud that it could even be heard in the clouds. It was evident that Chu Kuangren's prestige in the Black Heaven sect was high. Chu Kuangren smiled at the crowd before he walked up to Honorable Xian Qi, Elder Ruyan, and the others and greeted them with a fist salute. Greetings, Master Elder. Kuangren, you don't have to be so courteous. You've worked hard on this trip to the northern Lingdao state to slay demons and defend the righteous path. Honorable Xian Qi stepped forward and said in a gratified manner. He had heard about Chu Kuangren slaughtering 100,000 demonic cultivators. Even among the honorable cultivators of the older generation, there were not many who could achieve such a feat. It must be said that although Chu Kuangren was still young, the things that he had done had already surpassed most of the cultivators in the world. It's nothing. It's part of my job. Chu Kuangren chuckled. His trip to the northern Lingdao state, whether it was killing 100,000 demonic cultivators to break through to the Battle Monarch realm, obtaining the demonic spear of apocalypse, or increasing the prestige of the Black Heaven sect, it was a worthwhile trip for him. After a welcoming ceremony, Honorable Xian Qi pulled Chu Kuangren aside and said, "What do you think about the primordial emperor's essence?" The seventh forefather had already informed Honorable Xian Qi about what Tianjizi had told him. The primordial emperor's essence is similar to the primordial purple qi. It's a treasure that can help one become an emperor. However, just like the primordial purple qi, relying on it to become an emperor is the lowest tier in the emperor realm. But that's still an emperor. Honorable Xian Qi was amazed. An emperor? There hasn't been an emperor for 150,000 years, but why do I feel like you don't care about it at all? Chu Kuangren shrugged and said innocently, "Honorable teacher, you said it yourself. That's an emperor we're talking about. How could I not care about it? It's just that I don't want to rely on the primordial emperor's essence to become an emperor." You're confident that you can become an emperor by yourself? This is an era where the great Dharma emergence takes place. Most of the emperors of old became emperors with their own strength, so why can't I do the same? Ha, Kuangren, It's great that you have the courage to compete with the emperors of old, but the primordial emperor's essence is also a rare treasure that you must fight for. Even if you take 10,000 steps back, this is still a way out, isn't it? Honorable Xian Qi laughed. It was not that he did not believe in Chu Kuangren, but it was too difficult for him to become an emperor by himself. Although it was the great Dharma emergence, if he did not succeed, the primordial emperor's essence would ensure that he would not fall behind. Fight for it? I didn't say that I won't fight for it, Chu Kuangren said. Although he did not plan to rely on the primordial emperor's essence, it was still a good choice to take back such a treasure, be it for his collection or for others to use. By the way, honorable teacher, I plan to go into closed-door meditation for a while. All right, go ahead. You've just broken through to the Battle Monarch realm not too long ago, so you do need to go into closed-door meditation to stabilize your cultivation. Honorable Xian Qi did not mind. He felt that, with Chu Kuangren's ability, he would be able to stabilize his cultivation in a few days. However, he did not know that Chu Kuangren's closed-door meditation this time was not to stabilize his cultivation, but to gain insight into the eternal emperor scripture that he had obtained a few days ago, inside the towering heaven palace. Lil Bing was ecstatic to see Chu Kuangren. Master, you're finally back. Lil Bing missed you so much. Oh, Lil Bing, you've improved quite a bit. Chu Kuangren noticed that Lil Bing's cultivation level had reached the nascent soul realm. Even among the true disciples, she would be a top-notch expert. After all, when she first arrived, she was not even a golden core realm cultivator. This is all thanks to the spiritual gathering formation in the Taoist palace. Otherwise, I wouldn't have improved so quickly, Lil Bing said. It's all thanks to your own hard work. Chu Kuangren laughed. After catching up with Lil Bing for a while, he went into closed-door meditation. Inside the Taoist palace's room, Chu Kuangren took out a light yellow thread-bound ancient book. There was a faint Taoist rhyme on the book, and the words Eternal Emperor Scripture were written on it. An emperor's aura roared out. How terrifying! It was just a thin booklet, but Chu Kuangren felt like it weighed millions of pounds, as if he was carrying a mountain. The emperor's aura put Chu Kuangren's Taoist core under unimaginable pressure, and he could not help but want to kneel and kowtow. CK me, without a certain level of strength, I'm afraid it's difficult to even read this emperor's scripture. Chu Kuangren channeled his spiritual power, and the 5 supreme foundation levels in his spiritual mound all radiated with divine light to resist the aura. After a while, Chu Kuangren gradually familiarized himself with the aura, and he used all his strength to flip to the first page of the emperor's scripture. In an instant, countless mysterious characters came into view and intertwined in Chu Kuangren's mind, forming into a white-robed young man with dashing eyebrows and starry eyes. His body emanated an endless emperor's aura. The young man's lips opened and closed as if he was chanting some kind of wisdom. A strange epiphany appeared in Chu Kuangren's mind. At that moment, his understanding of the Tao was rising crazily. He knew that the person in front of him was the eternal emperor, and the words he was chanting were the emperor's Tao epiphany. This was a great opportunity for any cultivator who had yet to become an emperor. Chu Kuangren dared not delay and immersed himself in his Tao epiphany. Taoist cultivators did not know the passage of time. Soon, half a month had gone by. While Chu Kuangren was in closed-door meditation to understand the emperor's scripture, a series of major events happened in Firmament Star. All over Firmament Star, there were earthquakes, tsunamis, and natural disasters of varying degrees. The ancient sky prides who were in deep slumber had finally awakened in this great Dharma emergence era. Chapter 113. Boom! The ground quaked and a mountain range cracked open. Rays of light shot out from the crack, and a green-robed figure walked out from it. Waves of mysterious Taoist rhymes flowed around his body. Is this the era of the great Tao emergence? As expected, it's much easier to gain insights into Taoism than it was during my era. The spiritual qi here is abundant too. I must become an emperor in this life, the green-robed figure said with great pride. Amidst the turbulent sea, a water column suddenly shot up into the sky. A black-haired man clad in scaled armor emerged from the water column. He held a trident in his hand, and his entire body was surging with Taoist rhymes. "Ha-ha, the great Tao emergence, the era of great battles. Sky prides, I'll be waiting for you." The man let out a long roar, and the surrounding seawater rumbled. On an altar, countless Thunder Falcon tribe cultivators were kneeling on the ground. In front of them was a black coffin. The coffin was engraved with mysterious runes. Suddenly, the coffin trembled and exploded with a loud bang. A large amount of lightning energy erupted and danced about in the air with a terrifying momentum. "Greetings, forefather. Greetings, forefather," the Thunder Falcon tribe cultivators cheered. When the dust settled, a white-robed, blue-haired young man walked out of the coffin. When his eyes opened and closed, tiny arcs of electricity could be seen dancing in them. "I finally arrived at this era." With the revival of the ancient sky prides, the firmament star had officially begun the era of great battles. On the 15th day after Chu Kuangren went into closed-door meditation, a golden chi soared into the sky from one of the mountain peaks in the Azure Dragon domain, accompanied by a mysterious Taoist rhyme that reverberated in the heavens. Golden lotuses sprouted from the ground and formed a series of transformations. That was the phenomenon brought about by the appearance of the primordial emperor's essence. In an instant, the entire Azure Dragon domain and even firmament star fell into an unprecedented frenzy. All the orthodoxies went to fight for the emperor's essence. In the end, the emperor's essence was obtained by the ancient sky pride of the Thunder Falcon tribe, and he was crowned as the new young emperor. In the following days, the 49 primordial emperor's essences that the divine predictor predicted appeared one by one. Countless sky prides, be it from the present or the past, joined the battle for the emperor's essence. Prodigies from all walks of life shone like stars in the sky, each having their own glory. Ao Chong from the sacred lands of serene wisdom, Princess Linglong from the royal Azure dynasty, Guchanga, Lin Batian from the Jiang Valley, Wuchenzi from the Taishu Temple. The ancient prodigies, Haidong, Lin Qingshan. One after another, sky prides obtained the emperor's essence and became the new generation of young emperors. As for the older generation of young emperors, unless they could obtain the primordial emperor's essence, their names would be removed and they would be eliminated by time. Time passed. 3 years had passed. Within these 3 years, the entire firmament star had changed drastically due to the awakening of the ancient sky prides and the appearance of the primordial emperor's essence. The new generation of prodigy young emperor's name spread far and wide. As for Chu Kuangren, who had shocked the world 3 years ago, it was as if he had been forgotten by everyone. Gradually, no one mentioned him anymore. He had been in seclusion for 3 years, and there had been no news from him. The 49 wisps of primordial emperor's essence had been obtained by others one by one, and he had never come out to fight for them. Everyone thought this heaven's favorite, who shone so brightly 3 years ago, had been eliminated by the times. This person would no longer appear on the emperor's road. Instead, the most noteworthy person was his follower, Lan Yu. This woman was extremely talented. She had once appeared when the primordial emperor's essences appeared one after another, and she had single-handedly obtained an emperor's essence. There was a place for her among the current young emperors. At the beginning of the era of great battles, the divine predictor had once commented on the various sky prides, and he had once said this about Lan Yu: she was a peerless talent, and her future achievements would not be any weaker than the emperors of old. Just that one sentence alone made Lan Yu known to the world. Even those ancient sky prides with unparalleled combat strength could not overshadow her. Not any weaker than the emperors of old? What kind of concept was that? In a literal sense, it meant that Lan Yu could at least become an emperor. After all, even with the help of the primordial emperor's essence, the current young emperors did not have the confidence to become emperors in the future. The divine predictor's comment was too high. However, after obtaining the emperor's essence, Lan Yu did not make any more movements. She stayed in the Black Heaven sect, and no one had seen her again. Black Heaven sect, towering heaven palace. Lan Yu sat under a large tree with a calm expression. Occasionally, She would glance at the house next to her with a look of longing. Beside her, Lil Bing rubbed her chin and said, "Sister Lan Yu, Master has been in seclusion for 3 years now. When will he come out?" "I don't know." Lan Yu shook her head. "By the way, Sister Lan Yu, I heard that a few days ago, the young emperor of the winged human tribe came to look for you again and asked you to return." "What did you say?" Lil Bing suddenly asked curiously. "I didn't agree. Only the place where Master lives is worthy of my return. As for the winged human tribe, I have nothing to do with them other than this identity." Lan Yu frowned slightly. The winged human tribe was a tribe in the Azure Dragon domain. In terms of strength, they were not that outstanding, and they were much weaker than the sage orthodoxies. However, 3 years ago, the winged human tribe awakened an ancient winged human sky pride from a deep slumber, and they even obtained an emperor's essence. Aside from that, when Lan Yu's name was known throughout the world, her identity as a winged human was also known to everyone. The people of the winged human tribe once came to the Black Heaven sect to bring her back, but she rejected them outright. Even so, the winged human tribe did not give up. Every few days, they would send people to the Black Heaven sect to persuade Lan Yu to return. "If only Master was here. I'm sure he would have a way to stop you from worrying so much." Lil Bing sighed and said, "If Master doesn't come out soon, the whole world will forget about him. Nowadays, all the new disciples who have joined the Black Heaven sect are talking about those young emperors. When they mention our Master, they'll forget about him in just a few words. When Master was at his prime, they didn't even know where he was." Lil Bing suddenly said angrily. Every time she heard people say that Chu Kuangren was outdated, she would argue with them. However, no matter how much she argued, it was an undeniable fact that Chu Kuangren's reputation was getting lower and lower. In the Black Heaven sect, other than the new disciples, most people still remembered their elder senior brother. However, in the outside world, Chu Kuangren's name had almost disappeared. The times had changed too quickly. Today, it was either the Sky Pride defeating an honorable or another Sky Pride breaking through to the next realm. Under the bombardment of such news, the things that Chu Kuangren had done 3 years ago were rarely mentioned by others. Ignore the others. We just need to remember it. Besides, when Master comes out of his closed-door meditation, the whole world will remember him too. Lan Yu smiled faintly with a determined look in her eyes. She believed that it was only temporary. Once Chu Kuangren came out of his closed-door meditation, the whole world would remember him sooner or later. There was once such a person who suppressed all the sky prides in the world. At that moment, there was a commotion in the house next door. A powerful Taoist rhyme soared into the sky. The whole Black Heaven sect was shaken, and the Sword Mountain let out a series of sword cries. Everyone looked in the direction of the towering Heaven Palace. Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the other Taoists were overjoyed. Chapter 114. Terrifying Taoist rhymes emanated from the towering Heaven Palace. Inside the Black Heaven Sword Mountain, tens of thousands of swords let out a roar and soared into the sky as if they were welcoming the awakening of the God of Swords. All the Black Heaven sect disciples were shocked. The new disciples did not know what was going on, but the older disciples were all excited as they looked in the direction of the towering Heaven Palace. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. At that moment, streams of light flew across the sky. Those are the true disciples. No, not just the true disciples, there are Taoists too. Oh my God! Isn't that the sect leader and the others? The entire Black Heaven sect was shocked. The true disciples, Taoists, and even the sect leader and elders were all shocked as they flew in the direction of the towering Heaven Palace. The new disciples were shocked to see such a scene. What the hell is going on? A disciple said in bewilderment. Next to him, a disciple who had been in the Black Heaven sect for decades smiled and said, "Because our elder senior brother has come out of closed-door meditation." The new disciple asked curiously, "The legendary Chu Kuangren?" "Yes." "No way, even if Chu Kuangren is our elder senior brother, it doesn't matter if he's out of closed-door meditation. Is there a need to make such a big scene?" "Ha, you'll understand in the future." The older disciple laughed. No, elder senior brother has come out of closed-door meditation. I have to go and see too. At that moment, a female cultivator could not hold back anymore. With that, the rest of the female cultivators also flew in the direction of the Taoist palace. Most of them were ecstatic and excited. Elder senior brother has finally come out of closed-door meditation. This is great. It's been 3 years, a full 3 years. A day without seeing him feels like 3 autumns, let alone 3 years. I finally waited for him to come out. Sob, elder senior brother. I'm here. I can finally see elder senior brother's peerless beauty again. Looking at the group of female cultivators who seemed to have gone crazy, some disciples looked at each other in disbelief. Was Chu Kuangren really that charismatic? Inside the towering heaven palace, Honorable Shen Qi, Elder Ruyan, and the others had arrived. Behind them were a group of true disciples and Taoists. Everyone sensed the soaring Taoist rhyme in the palace and could not help but be amazed. Honorable Shen Qi was especially amazed. This sword-based Taoist rhyme is already above mine. Honorable Shen Qi's words shocked the disciples behind him. After all, Honorable Shen Qi and Honorable Swordsman White Cloud were known as the Azure Dragon Dual Swords. They were the 2 pinnacle swordsmen of the Azure Dragon domain. After the death of Honorable Swordsman White Cloud, no one would object to the claim that Honorable Shen Qi was the number 1 swordsman in the Azure Dragon domain. However, he claimed that Chu Kuangren's sword-based Taoist rhyme had surpassed his, as expected of eldest senior brother. Nangong Huang's face was filled with admiration. The other disciples looked at each other. When they remembered that this person was their eldest senior brother, they didn't feel so shocked anymore. Yes, eldest senior brother had done so many earth-shattering things in the past. So what was so strange about his sword Taoist rhyme surpassing the sect leader now? The Taoist rhyme lingered in the sky for a while. Then, the door of a room in the Taoist palace opened with a creak, and a young man in a white robe slowly walked out. His white robe was still spotless, and he wore a jade crown on his head. His black hair reached his waist, and his eyes were as bright as stars. Master! Lan Yu and Lil Bing greeted him excitedly. In the sky, the group of true disciples and the disciples who had just arrived were all excited and shouted in unison when they saw him. Welcome back, eldest senior brother. Welcome back, eldest senior brother. When some of the new disciples saw Chu Kuangren, they couldn't help but be impressed by his looks, but they were still a little puzzled. Did he really have that kind of charm just based on his looks? Did he make the Black Heaven sect and even the sect leader and elders value him so much? Even Honorable Shen Qi might not have such prestige. Inside the Taoist palace, Chu Kuangren cupped his fists at the people in the sky and smiled. Junior brothers and sisters, long time no see. Honorable Shen Qi came in front of him and laughed. You've been in closed-door meditation for 3 whole years. Do you know how many things you've missed in these 3 years? Everyone has forgotten about you now. Chu Kuangren smiled casually. No worries. I'll just make them remember when the time comes. Tell me, what have you learned in these 3 years? Honorable Shen Qi did not believe that Chu Kuangren would go into closed-door meditation for 3 years for no reason. Yes, I've learned a little. Chu Kuangren smiled and nodded. In fact, he did not expect to go into closed-door meditation for 3 years. The Eternal Emperor scripture was too mysterious. He was immersed in it, and before he knew it, 3 years had gone by. However, his gains were also very big. The first was the level of his Tao techniques. Although he had yet to fully understand the Eternal Emperor scripture, his Tao techniques had a substantial breakthrough, far surpassing his previous closed-door meditation. He believed that if he was given some time, he could raise the heaven-slaying sword drawing technique to the level of an emperor technique. When that time came, his single sword destruction technique would be considered complete. I'm afraid it's not as simple as just a little. How could Honorable Shen Qi not understand Chu Kuangren? After 3 years of closed-door meditation, how could it be described as just a little? That Taoist rhyme alone made his heart palpitate. However, Chu Kuangren was still his disciple, so the stronger he was, the more comforted he was. Hence, he did not pursue the matter. After Chu Kuangren came out of his closed-door meditation, he reminisced with the crowd. In the towering Heaven Palace, Chu Kuangren, Murong Xian, Nangong Huang, and the others gathered to discuss the recent happenings. Chu Kuangren also took the opportunity to understand the situation of the world. After 3 years of closed-door meditation, the changes were indeed huge. Now, the world was filled with sky prides from all walks of life, and it was extremely exciting. The changes in Firmament Star are unprecedented. The appearance of 49 surges of primordial emperor's essences has created 38 young emperors. Among them, the Black Warrior Domain's Overlord Sage Tribe's young emperor is the most outstanding. He alone has 3 emperor's essences, and he's known as the most promising sky pride to become an emperor. Besides these 38 young emperors, there are also some ancient sky prides who did not obtain the emperor's essences, but their combat strength and talent are still very outstanding. Among them, the 10 unparalleled heroes are the most famous. Nangong Huang said slowly. What about the strong cultivators of the older generation? Aren't they tempted by the appearance of the emperor's essences? Chu Kuangren asked curiously. Yes. There was once an honorable who tried to fight for the emperor's essences, but he was killed by a sage with just a finger. Nangong Huang's tone was still a little shocked when he mentioned this. An honorable was an extremely powerful existence to them, but in front of a sage, they were as insignificant as ants. The sages seemed to have reached some kind of agreement to not allow cultivators above the honorable realm to fight for the emperor's essences. I heard from the sect leader that the opportunity to become an emperor does not lie with the sages, Murong Xian said with a frown. He still could not understand what that meant. Chu Kuangren was deep in thought. When he was studying the emperor's scripture, he had a very clear understanding of the Tao and the world. He vaguely came into contact with some heavenly mysteries that only sages could perceive. That was, the luck of this era did not lie with the sages, but with the younger sky prides. If there was someone who could become an emperor in this era, that person would definitely be one of the younger sky prides. Perhaps that was the reason why the sages did not fight for the emperor's essences. Even if they obtained the emperor's essences, they would not be able to become emperors. Chapter 115. After catching up with Nangong Huang and the others, Chu Kuangren had a general understanding of the current firmament star. After everyone had left, Lan Yu showed him an item. This is the primordial emperor's essence? Chu Kuangren was shocked to see the golden aura in Lan Yu's hand. This primordial emperor's essence was very mysterious. It was surrounded by mysterious runes, and one could vaguely hear Taoist rhymes echoing in their ears. If other cultivators saw this emperor's essence, they would be extremely excited and shocked by the Taoist rhymes it contained. However, other than the initial shock, Chu Kuangren's gaze remained calm, as if he did not care about it at all. The Taoist rhymes in this emperor's essence were much weaker than those in the emperor's scripture. The primordial emperor's essence could only increase a cultivator's chances of becoming an emperor, but the eternal emperor's scripture was written by an emperor's lifetime achievement. It was much more valuable than the primordial emperor's essence. If the primordial emperor's essence was considered a legendary item, then it would be the most common legendary item. The eternal emperor's scripture, on the other hand, was a top-tier legendary item. Lan Yu, are you giving me the emperor's essence? Chu Kuangren smiled at Lan Yu. Yes, this is the primordial emperor's essence. Although it could not compare to the emperor's scripture, this primordial emperor's essence was enough to make all orthodoxies go crazy. One emperor's essence was enough to create a young emperor. Not a young emperor like Lei Ao or Shang Han, but a young great emperor who had the potential to become an emperor. Everything I have, including myself, belongs to you, master. If you want it, I can give it to you, Lan Yu said seriously. Her original intention of stealing the primordial emperor's essence was for Chu Kuangren. She thought that her master might need it, so she took it. I don't need it. You can keep it for yourself. Chu Kuangren reached out and ruffled Lan Yu's hair with a hint of pity in his eyes. Lan Yu blushed and nodded. Since you've taken the emperor's essence, you should find a time to merge it with it. Since I'm out of my closed-door meditation, let me protect you. Thank you, Master. The news of Chu Kuangren coming out of his closed-door meditation had spread throughout the entire Black Heaven sect. Within a few days, every orthodoxy in the Azure Dragon domain had heard about it as well. In Xiang Valley, a purple-haired young man was holding a communication compass in his hand. He had just received news that Chu Kuangren had come out of his closed-door meditation. He smiled, and a hint of coldness shot out from his eyes. Chu Kuangren, you're finally out. Times are different now. I'll let you see how you've been eliminated by this era. Spirit Illusion Holy Land. Ao Chong, who had received news of Chu Kuangren, laughed out loud with an ecstatic expression on his face. Chu Kuangren, you've finally appeared. 3 years ago, I will definitely return the humiliation you brought me. Just you wait. His whole body surged with majestic spiritual power, and his palm blasted out like a great sun, shattering a mountain in the distance on the spot. My current self is far stronger than when I was at my peak. I'm confident that I can even take on an honorable, let alone someone like you, Chu Kuangren. In the Royal Azure Dynasty, Crown Prince Guchanga was talking to the Royal Azure Dynasty King. Father, Chu Kuangren has been in closed-door meditation for 3 years. If it were in the past, it wouldn't be a big deal, but these 3 years have changed too much. The ancient sky prides and the primordial emperor's essences have all appeared, and he has long been eliminated by this era. He's no longer suitable to be the fiancé of the Royal Azure Dynasty. Father, please allow me to bring some people to the Black Heaven sect, to cancel the engagement. Guchanga could not suppress the excitement in his eyes. He could not wait to humiliate Chu Kuangren, who said anything about canceling the engagement. At that moment, Princess Linglong, who was dressed in a gorgeous phoenix robe, walked into the hall. Her beautiful face was covered with a layer of frost. Guchanga frowned. Linglong, you're not only the princess of the Royal Azure Dynasty, but you're also a famous young emperor. That Chu Kuangren is no longer suitable for you. Canceling the engagement is the wisest choice. Brother, this is my business. It's not up to you to decide. Besides, marriage is not a child's play. Do you think it's so easy to cancel it? Back then, when I held the martial arts competition and canceled it midway, I've already broken my promise to the world. Now that I've chosen Chu Kuangren as the fiancé, everyone knows about it. Now that I see him in such dire straits, how do you expect the world to see me? Are you heartless and untrustworthy? Or are you just a man? Towards the end of her sentence, Princess Linglong was almost shouting angrily. Guchanga was almost at a loss for words after being questioned by her. His face turned pale. How dare you? I'm your brother. If you weren't my brother, I wouldn't be here questioning you. I would have taken you down a long time ago, Princess Linglong said coldly. You. All right, both of you, shut up. The Royal Azure Dynasty King stopped the two of them and said, whether or not to cancel the engagement is entirely up to Linglong. She's not wrong. If she were to cancel the engagement now, it would not only affect her reputation, but also the reputation of the dynasty. Let's drop this matter. There's no need to discuss it anymore. Chu Kuangren is still the fiancé of the Royal Azure Dynasty. Now that he's out of closed-door meditation, Crown Prince, prepare some gifts to congratulate him. Although Guchanga was unwilling, his eyes lit up when he heard that the Royal Azure Dynasty King wanted him to go to the Black Heaven sect. Yes, father. Beside him, Princess Linglong said, I'll go too. Granted. Thank you, father. Chu Kuangren, who had disappeared for 3 years, had reappeared in the world. This news shocked countless cultivators in the Azure Dragon domain. Following that, there were rumors that Ao Chong from the Sacred Lands of Serene Wisdom, Lin Batian from the Jiang Valley, Yuan Hong from the Dharma sect, Wuchen Zi from the Taishu Temple, and Guchanga from the Royal Azure Dynasty were heading to the Black Heaven sect. All of a sudden, the cultivators in the Azure Dragon domain were in an uproar. These sky prides are all young emperors who obtained the emperor's essence in the past 3 years. What are they doing at the Black Heaven sect now? Needless to say, of course they're going to look for Chu Kuangren. TSK, 3 years ago, Chu Kuangren suppressed these sky prides to the point where they could not even lift their heads. Now that these people have obtained the primordial emperor's essence and become world-renowned young emperors, of course they're going to take revenge. I would have forgotten if you didn't mention it. 3 years ago, the world belonged to Chu Kuangren alone. Everyone says that in the era of great battles, the stars will shine brightly, but he alone was like a blazing sun that overshadowed everyone else's light. How could these sky prides take this lying down? What a pity. If Chu Kuangren did not go into closed-door meditation, he would definitely have a share of the primordial emperor's essence. With his talent, he could have continued to suppress everyone else, but he just had to go into closed-door meditation at such a crucial time. I really can't understand why. Nothing is constant. Who would have thought that? After 3 years of closed-door meditation, he's already leading the world. Honestly, based on this alone, none of the young emperors who went to look for him can compare to him. The entire Azure Dragon domain was filled with rumors and discussions. Everyone had their eyes on the Black Heaven sect. Everyone wanted to see how Chu Kuangren, who had declared war on the world 3 years ago and suppressed all the sky prides to the point where they could not even lift their heads, would deal with this. Chapter 116. Black Heaven Sect, Towering Heaven Palace. Lan Yu was integrating the primordial emperor's essence while Chu Kuangren stood guard outside to test Lil Bing's cultivation progress over the past few years. Although Lil Bing was only an outer sect disciple, she was considered quite talented among cultivators. Otherwise, she would not have entered the Black Heaven sect. Over the past few years, with the help of Towering Heaven Palace's spirit-gathering formation and various resources, she had improved rapidly and was not far from the Paradise Realm. She would be a Taoist in any orthodoxy. Your waterfall sword art is not bad, but it's still lacking a little. Come, watch me. Chu Kuangren unleashed his Taoist rhyme, and a silvery white waterfall suddenly formed in the void. The sword-based Taoist rhyme was extremely mysterious. Lil Bing watched from the side and could not help but exclaim, "That's amazing!" She had seen several elders use the waterfall sword art before, but even they were not as skilled as Chu Kuangren. It was as natural as moving clouds and flowing water. Under Chu Kuangren's guidance, Lil Bing improved rapidly. "All right, go to the side and practice," Chu Kuangren said. Chu Kuangren leaned against the tree and muttered the fantasy roulette in his heart. Looking at the familiar roulette in front of him, his heart ached. It had been 3 years. He had been in closed-door meditation for 3 years. He had been so engrossed in the Emperor's scripture that he had not even played the lottery once. In the 365 days of a year, he had missed more than 1,000 lottery draws. How many treasures had he missed out on? Lottery draw. The roulette spun quickly. "Congratulations, host, for drawing a supreme godly attribute. Lucky halo." His Chu Kuangren gasped in shock. He felt dizzy. What did he just hear? Supreme godly? F***CK. When he drew 10 consecutive lucky draws, he was at most a supreme godly attribute. Now, it had given him a supreme godly attribute. Could it be that the fantasy roulette had malfunctioned? Or could it be that his accumulated luck had exploded after 3 years of not playing the lottery draw? "Lil Bing, come here." Chu Kuangren called Lil Bing over and pinched her face. "Does it hurt?" "Yes." Lil Bing looked at Chu Kuangren pitifully. "Then I'm not dreaming." Chu Kuangren loosened his grip and rubbed Lil Bing's face. "All right, go back to your training. Young master is so annoying." Lil Bing stomped her feet and snorted arrogantly. Chu Kuangren laughed foolishly on the spot for a while before he retrieved his lucky halo. He did not feel any changes at all. According to the introduction, the lucky halo could give a person extraordinary luck. In other words, he could turn misfortune into fortune and misfortune into fortune. He could even encounter a divine beast that recognized him as its master, pick up a fire stick that could be a peerless godly weapon, and buy another bottle of drink. To Chu Kuangren, this would definitely be very useful. After all, luck was what he relied on to win the lottery. With this halo, his luck would be off the charts. Just as Chu Kuangren was fantasizing about how lucky he was, a powerful surge of Taoist rhyme erupted from Lan Yu's room. Rays of white light converged in the air, and a vast sacred radiant intent emanated. Soon after, a white crown condensed. Within the crown, Tao beads condensed one after another. It was actually a supreme foundation, the 9-pearl crown. This phenomenon startled many people in the Black Heaven sect. This is a supreme foundation. This aura belongs to Lady Lan Yu. She has broken through to the Battle Monarch realm and even condensed the 9-pearl crown. How extraordinary. It seems that the divine predictor's evaluation was right. This woman is indeed a peerless beauty. Her future achievements will not be any weaker than the emperors of old. The phenomenon lasted for a while. Then, the phenomenon dissipated and Lan Yu walked out. Master. Lan Yu, congratulations on successfully integrating the primordial emperor's essence, breaking through to the Battle Monarch realm, and condensing the 9-pearl crown. Chu Kuangren went up to congratulate her. Lan Yu smiled. I guess it was all luck. When I was integrating the primordial emperor's essence, I suddenly felt something and tried to break through to the Battle Monarch realm. Initially, the foundation I condensed was only the 7-pearl crown. However, at the critical moment, a powerful force appeared in my body and helped me condense the 9-pearl crown. Later on, I found out that it was the power of the scepter of light in my body. It must have been affected by the primordial emperor's essence, and this sage ruler weapon regained some of its power. The scepter of light was a sage ruler weapon that Chu Kuangren had obtained from Yuan Ling's treasury. However, due to the impact of a mysterious battle, it was downgraded to an ordinary sage weapon. He did not expect it to be so useful to Lan Yu today, helping her to condense a supreme foundation. Speaking of which, this is all because of my good luck. If not for my holy radiant physique, the scepter of light, and the primordial emperor's essence, I wouldn't have been able to condense this 9-pearl crown, Lan Yu said. Luck? Chu Kuangren's eyes suddenly lit up. He had just drawn the lucky halo. Could it be that this lucky halo not only had an effect on him, but it could also enhance the luck of those around him? Could this be the legendary getting lucky? At that thought, Chu Kuangren was overjoyed. He had not drawn the lottery for 3 years, but this time he had drawn a grand prize. The next day, after Chu Kuangren washed up, he opened the lucky draw roulette and began to draw as usual. He rubbed his palms together, his eyes filled with anticipation. It was time to test his luck. In that case, what was the use of the so-called lucky halo? Congratulations, host. You've drawn the Starlight Technique Phantom Light Strike. Starlight? The smile on Chu Kuangren's face grew wider and wider until he finally laughed out loud. Waha, it's true. I've really become the king of luck. Outside the door, Lan Yu was just about to knock on the door when she heard Chu Kuangren's laughter. She hesitated for a moment and decided to call him master later. After a while, the laughter gradually stopped. With a creak, the room door opened. Master! Lan Yu, how long have you been here? Chu Kuangren was a little embarrassed. Did she hear him laughing like an idiot in the room just now? How awkward would that be? Lan Yu smiled faintly. Just arrived. Since Master did not want others to notice his weird behavior, she decided to leave him some face. Ahem, that's good. Is there anything? Chu Kuangren asked. Someone has come to visit. It's Guchanga and Princess Linglong from the Royal Azure Dynasty, Lan Yu said. Oh, it's them. Chu Kuangren was quite surprised. Then let's go meet them. After all, I'm the fiancé of the Royal Azure Dynasty. Xiantian Palace, Longevity Hall. The Royal Azure Dynasty's crown prince, Guchanga, and Princess Linglong were both seated with Elder Rian personally attending to them. A few disciples beside them curiously looked at them, especially the female cultivators, who gritted their teeth and stared at Princess Linglong. This woman is married to our elder senior brother. Ah, how infuriating. Although they were unhappy, the female cultivators had to admit that Princess Linglong was the cream of the crop among the female cultivators in the Firmament Star. Be it in terms of looks, temperament, qualifications, cultivation level, or status. In everyone's opinion, there were only a few who could compare to her. Elder senior brother is here. At that moment, outside the Longevity Hall, Chu Kuangren arrived with Lan Yu in his wide-sleeved robe. Princess Linglong immediately looked over and a strange look flashed across her eyes. 3 years had passed, but he still did not change at all. He was still as gentle as jade, dashing in the wind, handsome and unrestrained, ethereal, outstanding, and peerless in his generation. Chapter 117. Chu Kuangren. Seeing Chu Kuangren again after 3 years, Gu Chang's eyes lit up as she sized him up from head to toe. It had been 3 years. Ever since he obtained the primordial emperor's essence, he had never slacked off and had been cultivating diligently until now. All of it was to defeat Chu Kuangren one day. Brother Chu, you've been in closed-door meditation for 3 years. How have you been? Gu Chang's lips curled up as he greeted Chu Kuangren. However, his tone was playful. His meaning was obvious. He was telling Chu Kuangren that things had changed too quickly in the past 3 years, and it was no longer the time when Chu Kuangren could dominate the world. Yes, it's been 3 years. Things have changed too much, but some people never change. Crown Prince, for example, you're still the same person you are. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Gu Chang's face darkened when he heard that. Chu Kuangren, you're too presumptuous. Yes, Crown Prince, your expression makes me feel much better. We don't have to be so polite. Chu Kuangren smiled. You? All right, brother, that's enough. Princess Linglong interrupted Gu Chang'e. She walked towards Chu Kuangren and smiled sweetly. Fiancé, I've specially brought some spiritual nourishing treasures from the palace for your return from closed-door meditation. I hope you'll like them. Chu Kuangren was not used to Princess Linglong calling him fiancé, but he still accepted her kindness with a smile. The few of them sat together and began to chat. However, before they could talk much, Gu Chang'e suddenly said, Chu Kuangren, I believe you've gained a lot from your closed-door meditation. I'd like to challenge you to a duel. Do you dare to accept my challenge? He had been suppressing himself for 3 years, and he could not wait to defeat Chu Kuangren. This was also the reason he came to the Black Heaven sect. I thought you'd have to hold it in for a while longer. I didn't expect you to be so impatient. Chu Kuangren chuckled. Humph, cut the crap. Do you dare to fight me? Sure. I'll fulfill your wish. Chu Kuangren nodded slightly. He was never afraid of a battle. Gu Chang'e was delighted when he heard that. He then walked out of the hall and got into a fighting stance, ready to fight. Many disciples gathered around, looking as if they were watching a show. Gu Chang'e is going to compete with eldest brother. This man has the primordial emperor's essence and is the current young emperor. Will elder senior brother be a match for him? You're new, right? You don't know eldest senior brother. 3 years ago, Gu Chang'e couldn't even take 1 strike from eldest senior brother. Even if he had the primordial emperor's essence, he would at most take a few more strikes. Really? Is eldest senior brother really that powerful? Of course. Eldest senior brother has many miraculous abilities. Most of the disciples in the Black Heaven sect were extremely confident in Chu Kuangren, and this made Gu Chang'e, who was at the side, furious. An incredibly powerful Taoist rhyme suddenly exploded from his body. The spiritual qi condensed into a solid dragon that circled above him and roared. A terrifying dragon might suppress everyone present. Those with slightly weaker cultivations were directly pressed to the ground on the spot. At that moment, a powerful aura erupted from the crowd of disciples and blocked the dragon might. It was Taoist Nangong Huang who had made his move. His eyes were filled with yin and yang qi as he stared at Gu Chang'e and said coldly, Is this all you can do, Crown Prince? Gu Chang'e glanced at him. I'm teaching them what it means to say that trouble comes from the mouth. Don't let them gossip. They're telling the truth. You dare to challenge me, but you won't allow others to speak the truth? Chu Kuangren said as he walked out. With every step he took, the Taoist rhyme on his body became stronger, and a white lotus appeared in the void, quietly disintegrating the coercion emanating from Gu Chang'e's body, like the spring wind and rain, nourishing everything silently. Chu Kuangren had mastered the white lotus light of purification to perfection. Gu Chang'e's gaze froze when he saw that. Only then did he come back to his senses. Even if Chu Kuangren did not have the primordial emperor's essence, he was still the world's top sky pride. 3 years ago, he was able to suppress everyone to the point where they could not even lift their heads. Even if the times had changed, he was still not to be underestimated. That's good too. Only then will he be worthy of being defeated by me, Gu Chang'e said with bright eyes. Just when he was about to make his move, a powerful Taoist rhyme fluctuation came from afar and a figure flew towards him. It was a purple-haired young man with colorful flames surging around his body. His Taoist rhyme was domineering like a raging flame. It was the sky pride of Jiang Valley, Lin Batian. Chu Kuangren can only be defeated by me, Lin Batian said as soon as he appeared and stared at Chu Kuangren. Just like Gu Chang'e, he was also here to challenge Chu Kuangren. He's mine. Another cold voice echoed in the sky as a figure flew towards them like a meteor and landed on the ground. The ground shook and cracked. Amidst the dust, a black-robed young man walked out with his head held high. It was the young emperor of the Serene Wisdom Sacred Lands, Ao Chang. F***ck me. It's Ao Chang from the Serene Wisdom Sacred Lands, the sky pride from 30,000 years ago and the current young emperor. He's here too. There's also Lin Batian from Jiang Valley. I heard that this person has mastered a type of sacred flame and his combat strength is unparalleled. Ordinary honorables are no match for him. Even among the young emperors, these two are among the best. I can't believe they're here for elder senior brother too. Look, someone's here again. At that moment, flowers fell from the sky as all kinds of Taoist rhymes appeared. There were wind, fire, mountains, and rivers. A white-robed young man came with the 4 elements of earth, wind, and fire. It was Yuan Hong from the Dharma sect. Brother Chu, long time no see. I'm here to defeat you today. Yuan Hong's eyes were bright as he made his presence known. Is there anyone else who's coming? If you don't show yourself now, you won't have the chance anymore. Chu Kuangren looked around and said, Hey Brother Chu, it's been a while. Oh, there's someone else. Chu Kuangren looked towards the source of the voice and saw Taishu Temple's Wuchenzi in a Taoist robe walking towards him. There was an otherworldly aura about him that made him extraordinary. Brother Wuchen, don't tell me you're here for a duel too. I've learned a lot from my sparring session with you, Brother Chu. Today, I'd like to spar with you again, Wuchenzi said. Losing to Chu Kuangren in the sparring session had always been a knot in his heart. Today, he was here to untie that knot. Sai, I guess you'll have to queue up for a while. Chu Kuangren pointed at Gu Chang'e and the others. The Black Heaven sect disciples were dumbfounded. What was going on? Elder Senior Brother had only come out of closed-door meditation for a few days, yet so many sky prides were here to challenge him? What did Elder Senior Brother do to these people back then? Some of the new disciples were filled with question marks. Far away, Elder Ruyan, Honorable Shen Qi, and the others were watching. Sect leader, are we just going to let these juniors do whatever they want? Elder Ruyan frowned and said, If not for Honorable Shen Qi's permission, Lin Batian and the others would not have been able to enter the Black Heaven sect as they pleased. They would have been thrown out the moment they stepped into the mountain gate. It's fine, let them do whatever they want. Besides, I want to see what level Kuangren has reached. Honorable Shen Qi laughed. Chapter 118. I was here first. Let me be the first to fight him. Gu Chang'e glanced at Ao Chang, Lin Batian, and the others coldly. Ao Chang replied indifferently, I've already said that he's my prey. Only I can defeat him. You guys will have to queue behind me. Oh, could it be that before we fight Chu Kuangren, the few of us are going to have another match? Yuan Hong asked calmly. They all wanted to be the first to defeat Chu Kuangren, and no one would give in. Chu Kuangren, on the other hand, smiled playfully and said, There's no need to go through all that trouble. I have a suggestion. Everyone turned to look at him. He continued, All of you can come at me together. Ao Chang's eyes flashed with anger upon hearing this. Chu Kuangren, I can't believe you're still so arrogant even after 3 years. You can no longer do whatever you want in this era. You're outdated, Lin Badian said coldly. Then, he raised his hand and channeled his spiritual power. A colorful flame appeared and transformed into a ferocious flaming beast. Compared to 3 years ago, Chu Kuangren was much more proficient in controlling the sacred flame. Moreover, with the primordial emperor's essence in his body, his understanding of Taoist techniques had improved by leaps and bounds. The power of the sacred flame was much stronger than it was 3 years ago. Even an honorable might not be able to block that attack. Chu Kuangren's expression did not change in the face of the sudden attack. However, his body began to blur in the void. The next moment, his entire body seemed to have turned into a ray of light and disappeared on the spot. His speed was so fast that no one could catch him. What technique is that? What a fast movement speed! This Taoist rhyme. I'm afraid it's some kind of sage ruler technique. Lin Batian and the others were shocked. 3 years ago, Chu Kuangren had never displayed such a cultivation technique. Sage ruler technique, phantom light strike. Lin Baishan's spiritual thought surged as he tried to locate Chu Kuangren. However, an indifferent voice suddenly came from behind him. Is that all you've improved in the past 3 years? Behind him, Lin Baishan's expression changed as he turned around and unleashed a palm attack. However, another hand was faster than him. Chu Kuangren stretched out his palm and slapped towards Lin Baishan's face. In the eyes of the crowd, the palm that was not thick and could even be said to be as fair as jade was like an ancient divine mountain, incomparably majestic. Bang! The slap landed squarely on Lin Baishan's face, shattering his saint flame and sending him flying thousands of feet away. Saint technique, human mountain stamp. With Chu Kuangren's current cultivation level, the sage ruler technique could already reach the point where he could summon the strength of a godly mountain with just a wave of his hand. So powerful. Gu Changa's pupils shrank slightly. Golden spiritual power flowed around his body, and his dragon vein Taoism form was activated to the extreme. He threw a punch at Chu Kuangren, and the roar of a dragon reverberated through the clouds. Dragon killing fist. A gigantic golden dragon shadow lunged towards Chu Kuangren with its jaws wide open. The terrifying might caused the void to tremble violently. This trick again. Don't you have any new tricks up your sleeves? Chu Kuangren shook his head as he lifted his right hand and gave it a light clap. The seemingly majestic dragon was directly smashed like a bubble, and its Taoist rhyme and spiritual power completely collapsed. Gu Changa almost vomited blood when he saw that. His dragon-killing fist had long reached the full mastery level. It was a sage technique with infinite power. With his current cultivation level, even an honorable would be killed if they were not careful. Yet, Chu Kuangren had easily smashed it into pieces. Was there any justice in this world? As for new tricks, F*CKU. Where did you get so many sage techniques from? After smashing the dragon into pieces, Chu Kuangren's figure once again became illusory. He turned into a stream of light and appeared in front of Gu Changa almost instantly. Gu Changa did not even have time to react. Too fast. That speed was just too fast. Chu Kuangren slowly raised his hand and unleashed another palm attack. The majestic human mountain strength immediately erupted from his palm. Gu Changa was hit in the chest, and his protective spiritual power was shattered. His chest almost caved in, and his whole body was blasted away like a cannonball. Waves of air surged in the air, and he was directly smashed into a mountain far away. That's the second one, Chu Kuangren said calmly. Then, his gaze fell on Yuan Hong of the Dharma sect. Yuan Hong was shocked. He activated his spiritual power and manifested his Taoist rhymes. His feet moved in a mysterious manner, and his speed was as fast as a gust of wind. At the same time, he activated another offensive technique. This technique was all-encompassing and extremely mysterious, and it seemed to contain a natural force within it. Chu Kuangren, you shall be defeated. Yuan Hong attacked Chu Kuangren as he moved. With a palm attack, the earth, wind, water, and fire techniques exploded in the center of his palm. but Chu Kuangren still shattered his opponent's attack with just a light palm attack. How can this guy be so strong? Yuan Hong was extremely shocked. He used his speed to move around Chu Kuangren. You're using the Dharmasek's heavenly windborne technique. This technique is known for its fast movement speed. You've mastered it quite well. Chu Kuangren smiled. Yuan Hong's expression changed slightly. He remembered that Chu Kuangren had learned 8,000 techniques in the Steel Forest in half a day, and learned all the supreme techniques and sage techniques in 16 hours. That was unprecedented. Chu Kuangren knew every technique that Yuan Hong had used. Just as Yuan Hong was reminiscing about the past, a ray of light suddenly appeared in front of him. It was Chu Kuangren, who had caught up to him in the blink of an eye. Your speed is not bad, but can you outrun the speed of light? Phantom Light Strike, Phantom Light Strike. This sage ruler technique was just like its name. It was as fast as a ray of light. What else in this world could be faster than the speed of light? While Yuan Hong was still in shock, Chu Kuangren's palm rapidly enlarged in his eyes before it landed on his face. Just like Gu Chang'e and Lin Batian, Yuan Hong was also sent flying. It's your turn. Chu Kuangren looked at Ao Chang. D*MN, Shield of the Mountain God. Ao Chang's expression changed drastically as he activated a sage ruler technique. Majestic spiritual qi gathered in front of him, and a heavy Taoist rhyme formed into a huge mountain. It was a top-notch defensive technique. Chu Kuangren raised his hand and activated the spiritual power within his body. The 5 supreme foundation levels in his spiritual mound radiated with boundless divine light at the same time. The power of the human mountain erupted, and with a single slap, the huge mountain in front of Chu Kuangren shattered. The violent impact landed on Ao Chang, causing his body to tremble and fly out uncontrollably. Beside him, Wuxia gulped as he watched. Suddenly, Chu Kuangren turned into a ray of light and appeared in front of him. He smiled and said, "Brother Wuxia, why don't you fly for a while as well?" With a single slap, Wuxia was also blasted away. The surrounding Black Heaven sect disciples were dumbfounded. It was too terrifying. Gu Chang'e, Ao Chang, Lin Batian, Yuan Hong, and Wuxia were all young emperors. Any one of them could easily suppress the younger generation of cultivators. But in front of Chu Kuangren, they were as helpless as children. One slap for one. Is this our elder senior brother? He's too powerful. F***ck me. Is this our elder senior brother? I love it. Chapter 119. Not far away, Lan Yu watched Chu Kuangren kill a young emperor with a single slap. Her eyes were filled with admiration and fanaticism, like the most devout believer. She knew that no one in this world could compare to the young master. As long as he wanted to, the world would remember him. Beside Lan Yu, Princess Linglong's eyes lit up and she could not help but lick her lips. This was her prince consort. He was indeed undefeatable, as expected of the young master, as expected of the prince consort. The two women said in unison. Then, they looked at each other, turned their heads and snorted. In the distance, Honorable Shen Qi, Elder Ruyan, and the others also witnessed this scene. Haha, as expected of my disciple. Even without the primordial emperor's essence, you can still suppress the current generation. Honorable Shen Qi laughed heartily. But where did Kuangren get so many sage ruler techniques? Elder Ruyan frowned slightly, realizing that things were not as simple as they seemed. Sage ruler techniques were extremely rare, and even the Black Heaven sect did not have any of them. However, Chu Kuangren had used almost all of them. This was unbelievable. Kuangren is a man of great fortune. Look, the heaven-slaying sword-drawing technique was also created by him, and the White Lotus Light of Purification was taught by the School of White Lotus. As for the other techniques, he must have had other opportunities as well. Maybe. This child is full of surprises. Elder Ruyan shook her head and stopped thinking about it. All in all, Chu Kuangren was the elder senior brother of the Black Heaven sect. The more outstanding he was, the better it would be for the Black Heaven sect. Elder senior brother has been in seclusion for 3 years. Even though he missed out on the opportunity to obtain the primordial emperor's essence, he's still able to suppress the young emperor. He's too strong. That's right, as expected of eldest senior brother. Haha, what young emperor? It's just a matter of one palm. Nangong Huang, Murong Xian, and the others looked at each other and smiled. They looked at the white-robed figure with fervent gazes. The other disciples were in awe and awe. Chu Kuangren stood where he was with his hands behind his back. A gentle breeze blew past, causing the corners of his clothes to flutter. His peerless beauty was dazzling and mesmerizing. What? You've only improved a little in the past 3 years? Just like that, who gave you the courage to challenge me? Chu Kuangren said calmly. Damn it, how can he be so strong? Gu Chang'e walked out of a pile of rubble, clutching her chest, her face full of horror. Not only him but the others were also extremely shocked. After all, in the past 3 years, they had improved tremendously with the help of the primordial emperor's essence. Most of the older generation cultivators were no match for them, but how could they be so weak before Chu Kuangren? One palm. He couldn't even take a light palm strike from him. They knew that Chu Kuangren's forte lay in swordsmanship, yet he was able to crush them without even using his sword. What would happen if he used a sword? Terrifying. I don't believe it. Ochang gritted his teeth. As an ancient sky pride who had the primordial emperor's essence, his combat strength was unparalleled. 3 years ago, he was suppressed by Chu Kuangren. Would he still be suppressed 3 years later? Sage ruler magic, Sunfall. Aochang gathered his spiritual energy and punched out. Violent Taoist rhymes intertwined, forming a terrifying sun. Meanwhile, Gu Chang'e, Yuan Hong, Wu Chenzi, and Lin Batian also activated their own techniques and Taoist rhymes, unleashing their ultimate techniques. For mystical arts, go! Dragon Slaughter Fist, Heavenly Blaze Prairie, Sunlight Destruction, Earth, Wind, Water, Fire, the power of the 4 mystical arts, the domineering dragon-shaped fist energy, and the burning sacred flame almost distorted the void. The sun rose from the sky and locked onto Chu Kuangren. A golden ray of light pierced through the air. The Sky Prides joined forces and unleashed an incredibly powerful attack. All sorts of Taoist rhymes circulated and shook the void. Faced with these attacks, Chu Kuangren smiled and a sword appeared in his hand. The sword looked like it was carved out of white jade, crystal clear and flawless. Sacred Sword, Descendant Self. With the Descendant Self in his hand, Chu Kuangren slashed horizontally. The dazzling purple sword light gushed out, and several terrifying energies fiercely collided with each other in the void, causing a terrifying explosion. The ground shook, the void distorted, and the impact was like waves, one after another. Under this shockwave, the Sky Prides were all sent flying. Battle Monarch Domain. Aochang let out a shout. An invisible force field locked onto Chu Kuangren. Gu Chang'e, Yuan Hong, Lin Batian, and Wu Chenzi also activated their domains. In the past 3 years, they had long reached the Battle Monarch realm. Their domain energy covered the sky and crushed towards Chu Kuangren. Each domain was a layer of shackles. 5 domains were 5 layers of shackles. Moreover, all 5 of them were young emperors, so their domain energy far exceeded that of an ordinary battle monarch. It could even suppress an honorable. Chu Kuangren felt the surrounding void change. The air became extremely viscous, as if he had fallen into a quagmire. Every time he moved, he had to expend far more energy than before. Is this a domain? Speaking of which, I've already reached the Battle Monarch realm 3 years ago. However, I've never tried this domain on anyone. Come and take a look. Chu Kuangren smiled, and a surge of domain energy emerged from his body. It only lasted for an instant. The domain energy that Aochang, Gu Chang'e, and the others had unleashed was repelled by an even more terrifying force field. With a bang, the domain energy that was rebounded landed on the 5 of them, catching them off guard and causing them to suffer from the backlash. Not only that, but Chu Kuangren's domain energy also landed on them and instantly pressed them to the ground. That domain energy was too terrifying. Their domains paled in comparison to it. How can his domain be so powerful? It's too terrifying. Guchanga and the others were pressed to the ground. Their bodies trembled as they tried their best to channel the spiritual power within their bodies to resist that force. However, the power of this domain not only suppressed their physical bodies, but also their spiritual powers. Now, they felt like the spiritual power within their bodies was like a pool of stagnant water. No matter how they channeled it, there was not much fluctuation. They could not believe that Chu Kuangren's domain was this powerful. This domain isn't bad. Chu Kuangren smiled. He was quite satisfied with his domain. Chu Kuangren's foundation was too terrifying. With a supreme 9-level Taoist foundation, a supreme 9-vein golden core, a supreme 9-colored nascent soul, a supreme 9th-grade purple palace, and a supreme 9-jeweled crown, there were only a few in the history of Firmament Star who had such a foundation. It was because of such a foundation that he was able to unleash such a powerful domain. He was absolutely invincible among those in the same realm. Chu Kuangren calmly looked at the people who were pressed to the ground and said, 3 years ago, I could suppress you to the point where you couldn't even lift your heads. 3 years later, I can still make you kneel on the ground obediently. Do you really think you can fight me just because you've obtained a so-called primordial emperor's essence and are called young emperors? What a joke. After that, Chu Kuangren retracted his domain. Ao Chang and the others felt their bodies relax as they regained their mobility. However, they did not relax at all. On the contrary, they were extremely depressed as a sense of helplessness arose in their hearts. It had been 3 years. In order to defeat Chu Kuangren for the past 3 years, they had been cultivating diligently without rest. They thought that, with the primordial emperor's essence in hand, they would definitely be able to defeat Chu Kuangren once they became young emperors. However, they did not expect that Chu Kuangren would still be so powerful that it made them feel hopeless even without the primordial emperor's essence. Chapter 120. Chu Kuangren had defeated 5 young emperors effortlessly. His combat strength had shocked everyone. Even Honorable Shen Qi, Elder Ruyan, and the others, who were mentally prepared, still found it unbelievable. In just 3 short years, Kuangren's cultivation base has not progressed much. However, his understanding of Dao techniques is so deep that it's amazing. Several of his sage ruler techniques have reached the perfect stage. It's unbelievable, Honorable Shen Qi said. The elders at the side also deeply agreed. Elder Ruyan said, even if he doesn't have the primordial emperor's essence, his innate talent is stronger than anything else. Not bad. With the lead disciple around, why should we worry about our Black Heaven sect not prospering? Haha, the Black Heaven sect is destined to prosper in this era. The sect leader and the elders were all beaming with joy. Ao Chang, Lin Batian, and the others left. They came in high spirits but left in low spirits. Today's defeat had not only reminded them of Chu Kuangren's strength, but it had also cast a shadow over their Taoist hearts. If he were to face Chu Kuangren in the future, he would probably be wary before the battle even started. The news of Chu Kuangren coming out from his closed-door meditation and defeating 5 young emperors in a row spread across the world on the second day. Every orthodoxy and cultivator was shocked by the news. He had disappeared without a trace for 3 years. Just when everyone thought that Chu Kuangren would never be able to shine again, he came out of his closed-door meditation and used his absolute strength to show everyone that he was still the same person who suppressed all the sky prides in the world. One brilliant feat. One brilliant feat. Chu Kuangren has been in closed-door meditation for 3 years and lost the chance to obtain the primordial emperor's essence. But he's still the same Chu Kuangren from back then. He shouldn't be underestimated. He's too powerful. He defeated 5 young emperors in a row. His combat strength is incredible. Is he really just a battle king? Now that Chu Kuangren has come out of his closed-door meditation, the world is going to be in turmoil again. Back then, when he first entered the world, he slew supremes and saints, leading the world into chaos. Now that he has come out of seclusion, I wonder what kind of commotion he will cause. Everyone in the world was talking about Chu Kuangren. Countless people thought back to 3 years ago, to the peerless young man in white who single-handedly suppressed all the geniuses in the world to the point where they couldn't even raise their heads. Now that the young man had come out of seclusion, what kind of waves would he cause? No one knew, but they were all looking forward to it. Princess, take care. In front of the Black Heaven Sect's mountain entrance, Chu Kuangren was sending Princess Linglong off. Princess Linglong smiled sweetly and said, "Then I shall take my leave. If you have time, feel free to come to the Royal Azure Dynasty to look for me." "Definitely." Chu Kuangren smiled. "Then goodbye." "Goodbye." After sending Princess Linglong off, Chu Kuangren returned to the Black Heaven Sect. He did not have any plans for the future. There was nothing wrong with staying in the Black Heaven Sect to cultivate. In the blink of an eye, a month had passed. Congratulations to the host for drawing a brilliant star item, Alchemist Permanent Experience Card 1. The Fantasy Roulette's voice sounded. Chu Kuangren's eyes lit up. Another starlight item. Over the past month, with the lucky aura hovering above his head, he had obtained quite a number of good prizes. Among them, there were 10 silver tier prizes, 12 gold tier prizes, 3 starlight tier prizes, and only 7 iron tier prizes. Before he had the lucky halo, Chu Kuangren was considered lucky if he could get a gold-grade item once a month. Now, nearly half of the prizes he got in a month were gold-grade items, and the star brilliance was a frequent occurrence as well. Chu Kuangren felt so good that he could fly to the heavens. Use the Alchemist Experience card. Chu Kuangren took out the card and crushed it. A ray of light entered Chu Kuangren's mind, and suddenly, a large amount of information about alchemy burst out. In the blink of an eye, he had turned from a rookie who knew little about pills into a rare alchemy grandmaster. Alchemy, this is a good skill. Chu Kuangren smiled after he finished absorbing the memories in his mind. In the world of cultivation, there were all kinds of cultivation resources, and alchemy was undoubtedly one of the most popular ones. Skilled alchemists were often sought after by the orthodoxies, and they were popular wherever they went. In the Black Heaven Sect, there was an elixir pavilion that specialized in cultivating alchemists. The alchemy used by the Black Heaven Sect's disciples all came from there, so it was very important in the sect. Now that I've mastered this skill, if I don't find a place to use it, it'll be like walking in the dark with no one watching, Chu Kuangren murmured. Then, unable to suppress the excitement in his heart, he left the Taoist palace and went straight to the elixir pavilion. Inside the elixir pavilion, the fire was strong, and the fragrance of medicine filled the air. A group of alchemists came and went, and it was quiet but busy. It was Chu Kuangren's first time here, so he looked around curiously. "Hey, it's Elder Senior Brother." An alchemy disciple noticed Chu Kuangren and could not help but let out a soft cry. The others heard him and looked over. It really is Elder Senior Brother. Why is he here at the elixir pavilion? Is he here to collect medicinal pills? That can't be right. The medicinal pills are distributed to the disciples on time every month, and why would Elder Senior Brother lack medicinal pills? A steward in charge of the elixir pavilion quickly greeted him and smiled. "Welcome, lead disciple. What brings you here?" Chu Kuangren smiled. "I recently had a sudden idea to refine some medicinal pills, so I came here. By the way, where's the 5th elder?" The 5th elder was the person in charge of the elixir pavilion. However, Chu Kuangren did not see him after looking around. The 5th elder went out. I heard that he found Master Gujiang in the Black Heaven Sect's territory, so he went to invite him. "Oh, Master Gujiang?" "Yes, he's one of the top alchemy masters in Firmament Star. He usually travels around, so the 5th elder invited him as a guest." At the mention of Gujiang, the steward had a yearning look in his eyes. In Firmament Star, those who were given the title of master were all great figures who had reached the pinnacle of a certain field. Alchemy masters, craftsmanship masters, formation masters, and so on. Each of these people were highly sought after by the orthodoxies. Even sage orthodoxies might not have them. "I see." Chu Kuangren nodded. "Lead disciple, are there any spare alchemy rooms?" "Yes." "Are there any spare alchemy rooms?" "Yes, there are." The steward nodded. If Chu Kuangren wanted to refine medicinal pills, he would build another one even if there was no spare room. The steward led Chu Kuangren to an alchemy room. Led disciple, what kind of medicinal pills are you looking to refine? I'll get someone to prepare it for you. I have a pill recipe here. Just get the ingredients according to the recipe. Chu Kuangren took out a pill recipe and handed it to the steward. This pill recipe was a gold-grade item that he had won a few days ago. It was a good chance for him to try it out today. The steward took the pill recipe and glanced at it. He was stunned. Pill of sorrow? It was the first time he had heard of this name. When he looked at the ingredients on the recipe, he could not help but be even more surprised. Each of these ingredients was extremely valuable. Is this really your first time refining medicinal pills? Yes. Is there a problem? No, I was just curious. The steward was even more confused. He dares to use so many precious ingredients on his first time refining pills? This is too much of a nerve. Forget it, he's the lead disciple after all. Even his position and prestige in Black Heaven sect were not lower than Honorable Shen Qi's. How could a small steward like him dare to disobey him? Soon, the steward arranged the ingredients for Chu Kuangren. Chapter 121. I heard Elder Senior Brother is here to perform alchemy. What? Elder Senior Brother knows how to perform alchemy? Tisk tsk. Even if Elder Senior Brother says he's an alchemy grandmaster, I'd believe him. You're too blind. Elder Senior Brother is indeed powerful, but alchemy is a technical skill. Without years of experience, even a genius can't easily become an alchemist. That's right. Elder Senior Brother is talented, but he must have spent most of his time on cultivation. How would he have the time to perform alchemy? I guess he's just curious. Probably. Everyone in the alchemy pavilion was curious about Chu Kuangren's sudden arrival, and they were even more surprised when they learned that he was here to perform alchemy. Inside the alchemy room, many of the alchemy pavilion's disciples were gathered outside. They craned their necks to see how Chu Kuangren would perform alchemy. At that moment, the door opened, and the administrator walked out. Why are you all gathered here? Don't you have to work? Go do what you need to do, the administrator said angrily. Heh, Deacon, aren't we all curious? Tell us, what pill is eldest senior brother planning to refine? One of the disciples asked curiously. I'm not sure either. It's called the pill of melancholy. Have any of you heard of it? The administrator asked. However, all the disciples were at a loss. I'm familiar with the 1,000-herb scripture, but I've never heard of a pill called the pill of melancholy. Yeah, could it be a pill recorded in an unofficial history book? No way. Just as the crowd was discussing, Chu Kuangren had already started to perform alchemy in the alchemy room. After merging with the alchemist experience card, Chu Kuangren's alchemy skills had reached the highest level in the world. The moment he started to perform alchemy, it was as if he had repeated it thousands of times. Every movement was smooth and natural. As the ingredients decreased, the pill in the cauldron gradually took shape, and a unique pill qi emanated from it. Outside the door, the disciples could smell the pill qi in the air. Smells so good. Is this a pill fragrance? It's a pill fragrance. Only top-tier pills can have a pill fragrance. Is this really Elder Senior Brother's first time performing alchemy? This pill fragrance is so unique. I've never heard of it before. Woo-woo. Suddenly, a sobbing sound came from the crowd. Everyone looked over and saw a young disciple sobbing. Why are you crying? Someone asked curiously. I just suddenly recalled some sad memories. Hearing this, everyone could not help but sigh. To be able to make a 7-foot man cry in public, it must have been a sad past that he couldn't bear to recall. Something was not right. Why did you think of it now? As the pill fragrance in the air became thicker and thicker, everyone felt their noses tingle and all kinds of sad memories surged in their minds. Sob, sob, sob. I'm unfilial. I joined the Black Heaven sect at the age of 12 and have only returned to my hometown a few times in the past 10 years. I'm unfilial. That's nothing. I've been cultivating for 10 years, and I'm still hovering around the foundation establishment stage. In the pill pavilion, my cultivation level is the lowest. I don't have the face to see anyone. Boo! Don't stop me. Just let me die. Don't, there are so many people out there who haven't even reached the foundation realm. What are you crying for? Boo-hoo, I'm the one who's miserable. When I left the village, I told Shui Hua that I would marry her once I became successful, but when I went back, her child already knows how to buy soy sauce. Brother, stay strong. Ah, which one of you is more miserable than me? Yesterday, De Huang, who had been by my side for 10 years, passed away. I fed him until he was young, but he left me just like that. I'm in so much pain. I miss senior sister so much. Although I failed to confess to her a year ago, I can't forget her even after a year. Boo-hoo. I've lived for so long, but I'm still a virgin. I'm so sad. Outside the alchemy room, the group of Pill Pavilion disciples were crying their hearts out. The air was filled with a sorrowful atmosphere. Outside the Pill Pavilion, 2 old men walked in, talking and laughing. Grandmaster Gujiang, it's really a blessing for my Black Heaven sect to have you as a guest, the 5th elder said with a laugh. Gujiang smiled. You're too kind, 5th elder. The Black Heaven sect is a sage orthodoxy. How could I not come when you invited me? You're too humble, Master Gujiang. Oh right, there's a group of good-for-nothing disciples in the Pill Pavilion. You should give them some guidance when you're free. Of course, of course. Ha, it's settled then. By the way, I heard that the Black Heaven sect's lead disciple, Chu Kuangren, is very impressive. If it's possible, I'd like to meet him. That's easy. The 5th elder and Master Gujiang walked into the Pill Pavilion. As soon as they entered, they smelled a unique pill fragrance. Since the Pill Pavilion was a place for alchemy, it was not unusual for it to have pill fragrance. However, this pill fragrance was very unique. Master Gujiang had been immersed in alchemy for thousands of years. He had seen all kinds of medicinal pills, but he had never smelled this pill fragrance before. What kind of medicinal pill is this? Master Gujiang could not help but wonder. I don't know either. The 5th elder was a little confused as well. He knew all the kinds of medicinal pills that the alchemists in the Pill Pavilion could refine, but this pill fragrance was definitely not refined by someone from the Pill Pavilion. Then who could it be? Unable to hold back their curiosity, the 2 of them followed the pill fragrance. However, the closer they got to the source of the pill fragrance, the more they felt their noses sting and their eyes watering. It was a feeling of sorrow. This pill fragrance can trigger the sorrow in one's heart? What a unique medicinal pill. The 5th elder and Master Gujiang's cultivation level was not weak. Moreover, it was just a pill fragrance, so they channeled their spiritual power to resist it. Soon, the 2 of them could hear the sound of many people crying. When they came to the outside of an alchemy room, they saw a group of Pill Pavilion disciples wailing. The 5th elder and Master Gujiang looked at each other, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. The power of this medicinal pill is really extraordinary. Yeah. The 5th elder walked up to the manager and asked, "What's going on? Who's the one refining the pills in this alchemy room?" The manager's eyes were red from crying, and his nose was dripping. When he saw the 5th elder, he sobbed, It's the lead disciple. Lead disciple? Chu Kuangren. How does he know alchemy? And he's even refining such a strange pill." The 5th elder was puzzled. Just as he was puzzled, a surge of pill qi suddenly rose from the alchemy room. It gathered the spiritual qi and formed a golden pill cloud. "Supreme pill!" Master Gujiang suddenly exclaimed. There were different grades and grades of pills. Among them, pills that could be classified as supreme grade were collectively known as supreme pills. Even if it was the lowest grade pill, refining it into a supreme pill was a test of the alchemist's ability. However, Master Gujiang's surprise was not over yet. After a pill cloud formed, another pill cloud gathered in the sky. Soon, there were 9 pill clouds in the sky. The golden pill clouds hovered in the sky, emitting auspicious light. An extremely mysterious Taoist rhyme filled the air. moving everyone's expression. Master Gujiang was already dumbfounded. His face was filled with disbelief. Nine pill clouds. A ninth-grade supreme pill. 9 was the extreme number. A ninth-grade supreme pill was the highest quality pill known in the world. Even Master Gujiang could not refine it. Grandmaster. Chapter 122. Fifth Elder. Quickly tell me which great master is inside. Grandmaster Gu tugged at the fifth elder's clothes excitedly. This was an alchemy grandmaster. He had traveled all over the firmament star, visiting all the famous alchemy masters, but he had yet to meet a single grandmaster even after so long. Who would have thought that they would meet here? Grandmaster Gu, calm down. How can I calm down? This is a great grandmaster. The person inside is the lead disciple of my Black Heaven sect, Chu Kuangren. Bulsh *T. Isn't Chu Kuangren a genius cultivator? How did you become an alchemy grandmaster? Are you messing with me? The fifth elder's head was also full of question marks. How was he supposed to know how to refine pills? At this moment, the door to the alchemy room creaked open. Then, Chu Kuangren walked out from inside and said, I've used up all of those medicinal ingredients. Can I trouble you guys to? Before he could even finish his sentence, Chu Kuangren was stunned to see a bunch of Elixir Pavilion's disciples crying their eyes out. F***CK. What's going on? He already had some guesses in his heart. Was the pill of melancholy so powerful? Just the pill fragrance alone had such power. If it was taken by someone, wouldn't that person cry to death? It really is the chief disciple. The fifth elder's face was filled with astonishment. When Grandmaster Gu next to him saw the door open, he quickly rushed in and searched inside, but he couldn't see anyone. Where did the Grandmaster go? What great master? Chu Kuangren asked with a frown. It's the person who concocted the pill just now. I've been the only one in this room since the beginning. I was the one who performed the alchemy just now. Chu Kuangren chuckled. He knew that the person in front of him was Gujiang, the renowned alchemy master of Firmament Star. What you? Gujiang circled around Chu Kuangren twice with a face full of suspicion. You're Chu Kuangren? Yes. You look just like the rumors. Was it really you who was concocting pills here just now? Gujiang's eyes were filled with doubt. Yes. Chu Kuangren nodded. Can you refine it again for me to see? Whether it was real or fake, he would know once he tested it. Chu Kuangren did not reject the offer. After all, the purpose of his trip to the Elixir Pavilion was to test his alchemy skills. He had just started and wanted to practice for a while longer. Then, he called someone to bring new medicinal ingredients and began to refine pills. Gujiang watched from the side. His expression changed from suspicion at the beginning to solemnity, and then to shock. In the end, his mouth was wide open, and he was dumbfounded. The fifth elder beside him was no better than Gujiang. As he watched Chu Kuangren perform alchemy, he felt that it was a little too far-fetched. He had never heard that Chu Kuangren knew alchemy before, so how did he become an alchemy grandmaster in the blink of an eye? Boom! A burst of Dan Qi soared into the sky, once again condensing into 9 golden Dan clouds. This meant that this was another batch of 9th grade Supreme Dan. Great Grandmaster! He's definitely a great grandmaster. Gujiang regained his senses and looked at Chu Kuangren with a face full of passion. Without another word, he immediately rushed towards Chu Kuangren and knelt on the ground. Master, please accept me as your disciple. The Elixir Pavilion disciples outside the alchemy room were all dumbfounded. What did they see? An alchemy grandmaster was kneeling in front of their elder senior brother, begging to be his disciple? F***CK me. This world is crazy. Senior, please don't do this. Chu Kuangren was also shocked and quickly helped Gujiang up. However, Gujiang's knees seemed to be glued to the floor. No matter how Chu Kuangren tried to pull him up, he would not get up. He stubbornly said, If Master doesn't accept me as his disciple, I won't get up. If asterisk CK me, he's trying to blackmail me. Chu Kuangren looked at Gu Jiang in shock. Is this really the world-renowned alchemy grandmaster? Master Gu Jiang, what are you doing? The fifth elder was also shocked and quickly came up to persuade him. Fifth elder, you don't have to persuade me. The grandmaster realm is my lifelong goal. I've immersed myself in alchemy for thousands of years, but I've never been able to achieve it. Now that I've finally seen hope, I won't give up. Gu Jiang said with a determined look. Alchemy was too important to him. The status and achievements he had today were all because of alchemy. His cultivation potential was not good, so he could only enter the Tao through alchemy. As long as he could advance further in alchemy, he would do anything. Senior Gu Jiang, if you like to kneel, then you can keep kneeling. Goodbye, Chu Kuangren said calmly. In fact, it was not impossible for him to teach Gu Jiang, but he was a little displeased with Gu Jiang's behavior. Do you think kneeling will make me accept you as my disciple? If I don't accept you, why won't you get up? Am I forcing you or am I forcing you? It was a threat in disguise. Chu Kuangren was not interested in such behavior, so he turned around and left. When the Elixir Pavilion's disciples saw that, their respect for Chu Kuangren grew like a surging river. How prestigious would it be to have an alchemy grandmaster as a disciple? But what about our elder senior brother? No. If you want me to accept you, then I won't. I don't care if you're an alchemy grandmaster. I won't even give a damn about you. This, Master Chu, wait up. Gu Jiang could no longer kneel. He quickly got up and chased after Chu Kuangren anxiously. Chu Kuangren looked at him. Why? You're not kneeling anymore? Gu Jiang blushed and said, Please forgive me, Master Chu. I was indeed rude just now. Please don't take it to heart. He also came to realize that his behavior just now was indeed a little forceful. Senior Gu Jiang, if it's just an alchemy exchange, I'll welcome you anytime. However, I don't think I'll accept you as my disciple. Chu Kuangren let out a faint smile and left. Gu Jiang was stunned. He did not know whether to chase after Chu Kuangren or not. Master Gu Jiang, the lead disciple, lives in the towering Heaven Palace. We'll have plenty of opportunities to exchange alchemy in the future. The fifth elder walked up and said. Gu Jiang glared at him when he heard that. Fifth elder, this is not nice of you. You invited me to the Black Heaven sect as a guest, but you didn't tell me that there's an alchemy grandmaster here. That's rude of me. Now that I've offended Master Chu, what do you want me to do? Let me tell you this. If Master Chu has a grudge against me because of this, I'll be the first to deal with you. Gu Jiang was not angry at all. If he knew that there was an alchemy grandmaster in the Black Heaven sect, he would have made more preparations before coming. At least he would not have left such a terrible first impression like he did just now. The fifth elder looked innocent and said, I didn't know that the lead disciple was so capable. Gu Jiang could not be bothered to talk to him anymore. He turned around and walked out of the alchemy pavilion. Hey, Master Gu Jiang, where are you going? I'm going to look for your sect leader. Why would I look for him? He doesn't know alchemy. I want to join the Black Heaven sect. The fifth elder's eyes lit up when he heard that. Gu Jiang was an alchemy grandmaster. If he was willing to join the Black Heaven sect, it would be a great thing. If he had known, he would have persuaded Chu Kuangren instead. When Honorable Shen Qi heard that Chu Kuangren wanted to go to the winged human tribe's territory, he did not object. Then, Chu Kuangren departed. The seventh forefather and the other two protectors also followed him on his journey. After 3 years, the 3 protectors had something to do again. The 3 of them gathered in the void and greeted each other. Brother Qinglan, long time no see. You're still as elegant as ever. The seventh forefather looked at Honorable Qinglan and laughed. Brother Shen Qi, how have you been? At Brother Meng you look younger. At that moment, the seventh forefather looked at the old lady from the royal Azure dynasty and said in surprise. Old Lady Meng smiled and said, The dynasty king has given me a supreme elixir. which allowed me to extend my lifespan and continue to protect the fiancé. Well, congratulations. Congratulations. How can I compare to Brother Xian-Chi? I heard that you've gone through heavenly deterioration stage 5 and returned to your peak with the help of a life extension pill. I'm really envious of you, Old Lady Meng said enviously. After going through heavenly deterioration stage 5, one was basically waiting for death. There were very few people like the 7th forefather who could return to their peak. It's all thanks to this little guy. He's now an alchemy grandmaster. Perhaps you can ask him to refine a batch of life extension pills for you. The 7th forefather suggested. Old Lady Meng was a little tempted. Let's talk about this another time. All right. The few protectors were chatting in the void. From their point of view, with Chu Kuangren's current cultivation and strength, as long as an honorable was not involved, they would not be needed. However, how many honorables were there in Firmament Star? Chapter 124. Chu Kuangren and Lan Yu followed Yen Bo to the winged human tribe. Along the way, they learned a lot about the winged human tribe. For example, the winged human tribe was divided into two factions. One faction was led by the current winged human tribe leader, while the other was led by the awakened ancient sky pride, Zhu Tianlan. Although these two factions did not have any conflicts on the surface, they were secretly competing with each other. Yen Bo belonged to the winged human tribe leader's faction. Aside from wanting to save the winged human tribe, he also wanted to recruit Lan Yu and find a sky pride that could compete with Zhu Tianlan. Chu Kuangren was not surprised by this situation. The awakening of an ancient sky pride was good news for some factions, but it would also affect the internal factions. Especially for an honorable orthodoxy like the winged human tribe, which was not as strong as the sage orthodoxy. They needed a supreme sky pride to lead their orthodoxy to the next level. However, this ancient sky pride had been in hibernation for many years and did not have deep feelings for the orthodoxy, so it was natural that he had to bear a certain amount of risk. Soon, Chu Kuangren and Lan Yu arrived at the winged human tribe's territory. It was a huge city with unique buildings. Most of them were dome-shaped and white in color. People came and went in the city. Besides the winged human tribe, there were also many foreign merchants and cultivators. It was very lively. When they arrived at the center of the city, there was a white palace with armored guards patrolling the place. The security was very tight. Lan Yu, you're finally here. When they arrived at the palace, a handsome middle-aged man in a white robe with white hair greeted them. This middle-aged man was the current winged human tribe leader. Greetings, tribe leader. Lan Yu bowed slightly. No matter how much she did not want to return to the winged human tribe, she still felt a sense of familiarity when she saw so many people from the same tribe. Behind the winged human tribe leader, there were many elders and young talents in the tribe. All of them looked at Lan Yu curiously. After all, it was strange that a supreme Taoist physique had suddenly appeared in their tribe without anyone knowing about it. Not to mention that this tribe member wielded the Scepter of Light, which was a supreme authority recorded in their tribe's ancient books. However, it did not take long before everyone's attention was drawn to Chu Kuangren, who was standing beside Lan Yu. Each and every one of them was stunned. Even in the winged human tribe, which was full of handsome men and beautiful women, Chu Kuangren's appearance and temperament were still exceptionally outstanding. No one could match him. Who is this person? Is he also a winged person? No, he doesn't have the aura of a winged person. But he looks even better than us winged humans. He came here with Lan Yu. I know he's Chu Kuangren. It should be him. The group of winged humans discussed in hushed tones. While they were sizing up Chu Kuangren, he was also sizing them up. It was said that apart from producing handsome men and beautiful women, the winged human tribe was also skilled in combat. He took a look and found that all of them had a kind of valiant aura about them. Those pampered prodigies couldn't be compared to them. Apart from that, he also noticed that even though Lan Yu was from the winged people tribe, her appearance was slightly different from an ordinary winged people. Ordinary winged people, including the lord of the winged people tribe, were no different from ordinary people other than having an extra pair of wings. Lan Yu, on the other hand, had long silver hair, sapphire eyes, and a holy aura. All of these made her stand out among the group of winged people, making her exceptionally attractive. Chu Kuangren smirked, feeling an inexplicable sense of pride in his heart. As expected, my Lan Yu is the prettiest no matter where she goes. You must be elder senior brother Black Heaven. The lord of the winged people tribe walked up to Chu Kuangren and bowed slightly. Greetings, lord. You're welcome, brother Chu. I've already prepared a banquet to welcome all of you. The lord of the winged people tribe smiled. The banquet was held in the palace. All the elders and sky prides of the winged people tribe were present, including the young emperor Zhu Tianlan. As a winged people, Zhu Tianlan's appearance was needless to say. Among all the people Chu Kuangren had met, he was definitely the most handsome. Of course, that was except for him. Zhu Tianlan was also very surprised. He took a few more glances at Chu Kuangren during the banquet. He did not expect there to be a man more handsome than him in this world. At that thought, Zhu Tianlan felt a little uncomfortable, especially when he saw how docile and obedient Lan Yu was next to Chu Kuangren. He felt a surge of anger in his heart. After all, when he went to look for Lan Yu, she treated him coldly. Where was the gentleness she showed to Chu Kuangren? Lan Yu, it's great that you've thought things through and returned to the Winged People tribe. If you and I work together, we can definitely bring the Winged People tribe to new heights. Let me propose a toast to you. Zhu Tianlan suppressed his jealousy towards Chu Kuangren and raised his glass at Lan Yu with a smile. However, Lan Yu did not raise her glass. Instead, she said, I came to the Winged People tribe to solve the problem of the demonic well. Once I'm done, I'll leave. Leading the Winged People tribe will be up to you and the Lord. His words made all the elders present reveal strange expressions. We'll talk about Lan Yu later. She's right, we should focus on stabilizing the demonic well first. Sensing the tense atmosphere in the banquet, the Lord of the Winged People tribe quickly tried to smooth things over. After the banquet ended, Chu Kuangren and Lan Yu stayed in the palace for the night. The next day, they set off for their destination. The demonic well. The so-called demonic well was not a real well, but a spatial crack. It was called the demonic well because it was connected to the underworld demonic realm. The demonic well that the Winged People tribe guarded was on an altar in the palace, guarded by 4 stone pillars that were engraved with runes. These stone pillars contained the power of the former sage ruler of light. However, for some unknown reason, that power had been greatly weakened, which was why the sage ruler's former weapon, the scepter of light, was needed to restore it. Lan Yu, I'm sorry to trouble you. One of the Winged People tribe elders looked at Lan Yu and said solemnly. He was the guardian of this altar, but it was said that a few days ago, there was a problem with the altar's formation, causing the demonic well to become restless. He was severely injured while trying to suppress the well, and he had yet to fully recover. As for how to restore the formation's power, he had already told Lan Yu about it on the way here. All right, I'll do my best. Lan Yu nodded. Then, in a flash, she spread her wings and flew onto the altar. She took out the scepter of light, and a surge of holy light aura emanated from her body, causing everyone present to be moved. That's the scepter of light, the former weapon of the sage ruler. It's said that this scepter symbolizes the supreme authority of the Winged People tribe. Whoever holds the scepter can command the entire Winged People tribe. That's only because our ancestors respected the sage ruler of light. However, this scepter is a sage ruler weapon, so it's true that it's extremely powerful. That's right. All the Winged People, including the Lord of the Winged People tribe, stared at the scepter of light in Lan Yu's hand with a fiery gaze. Chu Kuangren frowned as he watched from the side. A sage ruler weapon was enough to tempt a sage orthodoxy, not to mention the symbolic significance of the scepter of light to the Winged People tribe. Would these people really let Lan Yu leave so easily? You're tuning in to the Legend of the Vagabond YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.